Okay, our live stream has picked up. Thank you everyone for your patience. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Mel Barnes and I'm Chief Legal Counsel to Governor Evers and the Chair of his Pardon Advisory Board. I'm going to introduce my fellow board members that are with us today. I'll go through a little bit of housekeeping about how today's hearing will work, and then we'll get started hearing from all of you. So with us today, we have board member Reverend Jerry Hancock, who is the director of the Prison Ministry Project. He previously served as a public defender, a deputy district attorney, and as an administrator for the Department of Justice's Division of Law Enforcement Services. We have board member Judge Jeffrey Kremers, who is Attorney General Call's appointee to this board. He served as a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge for 26 years, including serving as chief judge for 7 of those years before retiring in 2018. We have board member Cindy O'Donnell, who served as the Deputy Secretary for the Department of Corrections under Governors Thompson, McCallum, and Doyle. She also served as Division Administrator under Attorneys General Lautenschlager and Van Hollen. And we have board member Eric Liberator, who is the Assistant Director of Student Success and an Assistant Teaching Professor at Marquette University Law School. He previously served as a Supervising Attorney at Disability Rights Wisconsin and in the Governor's Office. So just a couple of notes about how today's hearing will work. First, we're going to ask you to keep yourself muted and your camera off until it is your turn to be heard by the board. That's because we are live streaming today's hearing via Wisconsin Eye and YouTube. Keeping yourself muted will allow us to focus on the person who's presenting and make sure we get good audio quality. If you do run into any IT issues with the Zoom, don't worry about it. Someone will reach out to you and help you try to troubleshoot that. If it means we need to come back to you because Zoom isn't cooperating when it's your turn, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, we're going to call on folks in the order listed in the agenda and open meeting notice. Each applicant will have about 5 minutes total to share your story with the board and answer any questions we have. So we're going to ask you to spend the first the first 3 of those 5 minutes speaking to the questions we sent you in advance of today's hearing. As a reminder, those are to 1, please give us a brief summary of the offense you're seeking a pardon for and how your sentence went. We're not here to retry the crime. You don't need to minimize your involvement. We just want to hear from you in your own words what happened. Second, to please give us a brief summary of what you've done since the completion of your sentence. Community involvement, employment, essentially where you're at now and how your life is different than the time of your offense. And third and finally, a brief statement about why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one. Once you've spent about 3 minutes speaking to those questions, we'll open it up to any follow-up questions the board may have for you. Don't read too much into it either way if we do or don't have questions for you. As you know, your application is quite thorough and we spent a lot of time with those materials before today's hearing. But if the board does have questions for you, we want to make sure that we get to those so that we can make a thoughtful recommendation to the governor. Once you're done answering any follow-up questions we have for you, you're welcome to sign off and leave the Zoom hearing. Once everyone's been heard, the board will meet in closed session and decide whether to recommend your application to the governor. You need a majority support of board members present in order for your application to be forwarded to Governor Evers, who will then make the final decision about whether or not to grant you a pardon. Either way, you'll hear about the outcome of today's hearing about 1 to 2 months from today. We know you've been really patient to get to hearing day, and we thank you for giving us just a little bit more time to get those recommendations to the governor. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with our first applicant this morning, which is Marina Johnson. Ms. Johnson?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. We don't have video quite yet. There we are.
Okay. Hi, everybody. All right. My name is Marina Johnson. Back in 2009, I was charged with party to a crime, robbery with the use of force. I was only 16 years old. I got sentenced to 6 months Hubert, so work release, and then also 3 years of probation. I did successfully, did probation and everything I needed to do. Since then, I have been working as a collision estimator for 12 years. I absolutely love my job. So since then, I've just been, working. I became a mother of 3 as well during this process. And then for the community based, during the summer, I usually give back to the community by working with Running Rebels with the basketball team for the summer with my 2 young boys. So for that, I try to give back every summer to the community. But other than that, what I'm looking to get out of here is hopefully I can get my expungement so I can further along my career here at my job with my boss and see how life brings me having a clean record for once.
Sorry. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. We'll open it up to questions from the board.
Thank you.
Judge Carvers.
Good morning, Ms. Johnson. I have just a couple of questions. You were
Yes, sir.
ordered to make restitution in this case. Did you pay restitution?
Yes, everything was finalized. I'm not for sure how long, but it's been a while since I successfully paid restitution.
Do you remember how much you paid?
I want to say it was like $1,000.
Okay. And then my other question is, in your application, you seem to suggest that you just didn't have any idea that there was going to be a robbery, that you were just
Correct. Correct.
the
Yeah,
complaint.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't go with them to do a robbery. I was just there as a friend, as always. With with two friends. I thought that was my friends at the time.
In the complaint, though, it says you gave a statement to the police where you acknowledged knowing about the robbery and that they showed you the gun and talked about their plans before they went in.
Yeah, that's was something at that time. I was only 16 years old. I just agreed with anything they needed me to agree on. I just went, just me being nervous, being 16 years old, still in school. I just went along with anybody needed me to say, just so I can see, go along with what would happen. At that time, I wasn't had no lawyers present, no family present. It's literally was just me, myself, and I during this whole process.
Okay, thank you.
Cindy.
Yeah, just for clarification, it appears from the record you were 17 years old. The crime
Okay.
happened November 15th of 08.
Yes,
I just want to
definitely a
clarify.
long time ago. No problem. It's been a long time. I don't even remember.
I understand that. I just like to get the facts correct.
Thank you.
So a couple of questions from me as well. First of all, letters of support are
Mhm.
encouraged. They're not required, but you chose not to submit any letters of support with your application. Can you tell us why not?
For one, this is my third time submitting the application, so I don't know. I know the first time I did have letters of recommendation from my bosses and family members at that time. So between that time of me submitting my first application to now is almost like 4 years later. I'm not for sure why you guys did not have that information.
Ms.
Because
Johnson.
Go ahead. Go
Excuse me,
ahead, sir.
Cindy.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. We do have a record of you applying during Governor Walker's administration around
Mhm.
2018. Are you saying that you've applied previously while Governor Evers has been governor?
Correct. And then I got a letter probably last year stating that you guys only needed two documentation from me. And I never received saying that you guys needed the additional recommendation because I thought everything was from the first governor. Sorry.
Yeah, that would be your current application. It was a long time
Got you.
ago, but that would have
Gotcha.
been what
Okay.
we've been reaching out about.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'm sorry, Cindy, please continue.
No, thank you, Chair, for clarifying. What's your current employment? I see you have a logo on
yes.
your shirt. Who do you work for now?
I work for Crash Champions.
And how long have you worked for them?
I've been with this company for a year. I just transferred from Rusdero over to here.
So in your application, it said you changed jobs to Collision Estimates. Is that the same company or is that a different company?
Collision estimator is the job, is my job title.
Your job title for this company.
Correct.
Thank
Correct.
you.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it. Okay. And then it looks like in 2024 you had a deferred prosecution on a misdemeanor battery. Can you?
Correct. My son at the time was 13 years old. We moved to Washington County, wanted to, move the kids out of the inner city to, show them something different. My son at the time was having issues of getting comfortable in Washington County. So I had a lot of issues with him going to school, things like that. I was charged, they were trying to charge me with child abuse. So after that, when they found out there wasn't really no case, they just told me to do, a 1 year, make sure I don't get into no trouble, take parenting classes. And then I successfully did that recently last year.
But what was your behavior that resulted in a misdemeanor battery deferred prosecution?
Well, according to the police, my son ran away from home because he was scared with what I would do from him getting suspended from school.
And what behaviors did you do? You say
Oh,
according to the
sorry.
police.
Oh, well, according to me, I just did disciplinary action to my son. So I gave him a disciplinary action of giving him a whooping. And according to the police out there, they wanted to charge you with felony child abuse.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Other questions from the board? Okay, I think that's it for Mrs. Johnson. I appreciate your time this morning and I hope you have a great Friday.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Randy Parker. Mr. Parker.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I believe it was 2010 when I got in trouble with this case. Basically, I was out at a party with my friends. A fight ensued. There were some guys assaulted. I was there. I had nothing to do with the assault. I was just a bystander. So when everything went down, I went to court to, try to explain everything from my perspective, and I wound up being charged with party to a crime. I never struck anybody. Like I said in the beginning, I believe all this happened because I just lied, because I wanted nothing to do with it anyway, because like I said, I just stood there. So when they asked me was I there, I was saying I wasn't there. Basically, it's just, I got in all this trouble for lying. I never assaulted anybody. So far as job employment, I've been up and down with jobs from 2010 to now. I did in-home care for maybe like 4 years, and I left that job because I couldn't get a promotion because of the charges that I had. And my boss just was like, well, we can't promote you with these charges, so you need to try to fix this. So just was a whole mess with me trying to find jobs. I hadn't offended before then. I had only a marijuana charge before then from maybe like 2006, and I haven't offended since then. So now I work for a daycare, janitorial services. I've been doing that maybe like 3 years, maybe 4 years. I just feel like if I could get this part, it would help me be able to be a better person, not only for my family, a provider, and just to be able to live life without this hanging over my head. I just feel like the whole incident stemmed from the district attorney or the prosecutor, whoever she was, just looking at me at that time. I hadn't gotten any trouble, and it was like, I felt like she had it out for me. Like she wasn't gonna let me leave the situation without a felony. It was 10 charges, and I only got charged with perjury. That was my charge, perjury to the court, because I lied about the whole situation. And like I said again, I hadn't offended before then, besides the marijuana charge, and I haven't gotten any trouble since then.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. We'll open up to questions from the board. Judge Kremers.
Good morning, Mr. Parker. So let's talk about this incident. You were originally charged with all 10 charges.
Correct.
Right. And that's because you told the police, according to the complaint, that this was a plan to go into this residence where you weren't invited to get back a TV set that supposedly belonged to one of your group that invaded this party. Is that right?
No, I never told police there was a plan for that.
You didn't tell the police, because in the complaint it says that that's what the plan was, to go in there to get this TV set, and then once you got inside, there was a physical altercation, and that you didn't take part in the physical altercation, but you were part of the group that went into the place that started this. You didn't tell the police that?
No, I didn't. I told them that I was there first I told them I wasn't there. Then I told them I was there and they went there. I just got asked to ride with them. I had no idea why they were even going there.
Okay.
I was just going with my
So-
friends. Like I said, in the beginning, this all started because of a lie that I told. I didn't participate in anything. I was just there. And once I seen what everything happened, I didn't want nothing to do with anything. So I just basically tried to keep my mouth closed until I came to court to try to help my friend.
Right. So when you talked about lying, that's you lied on the stand in the trial of
Correct.
friends.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Reverend Hancock.
Mr. Parker, the judge in Dane County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. Now, the decision will be up to the governor, but how does the judge's support make you feel?
That is actually shocking to me, but I mean, it means a lot that I have the judge's support.
Thank you.
Cindy?
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Parker. I want to go back to the crime as well. In your application where you described the crime, you said, this is a sentence you wrote, there was a fight, and while no one was seriously hurt, someone's wallet was stolen. I read the criminal complaint. First of all, the people in their own house that was invaded were kicked in the head. They were hit with glass bottles. At least one was knocked unconscious. At least one person got stitches. They were terrorized by having guns pointed at them. How is it that you can characterize that as no one was hurt? This doesn't even describe the emotional trauma for people having their home invaded. So can you speak to why you characterize this as no one was hurt?
Because I didn't physically see that because I never entered the home. So when they were telling me everything that happened, I thought it was just a fist fight until it all came out. So I'm like, a fist fight, okay, people, you might get punched, you might get, I didn't know anything until after.
But now you know, and when you filled out this application, you knew,
Yes.
and you still characterize it as there was a fight and no one was seriously hurt.
I mean, that's just my stance on the situation. I don't believe anybody was seriously hurt because no one went to the hospital. I didn't even realize that someone had stitches and everything. Like I say again, until I read everything, but I mean, you can get stitches falling and hurting yourself. I just didn't look at the incident so far as that is like no one lost their life. I didn't even know a lot of other things. I'm still finding out things today that happened from the incident.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Parker, just one for me. As you pointed out, you don't get charged with the original charges you had in those cases. This get dropped, and what you are charged with is perjury. What I heard you say at the beginning is kind of all I did was lie, and you know the DA wanted to stick something on me. So is that? Can you just talk a little bit about reflecting back on this now, the impact that that might have had on the case and the justice system and the folks who were trying to get the truth of what happened here out in court?
Oh no, I totally get that. You know, I should have been, first of all, I shouldn't have been there. And I should have been more forthcoming with information, seeing as I didn't go there for that. But again, not wanting to, I guess, tell on my friends or people who I thought were my friends. After I tried to stay out of it, I just lied. But I know today, or I knew then, but I didn't use my conscious decision to tell the truth about the situation. But I understand the gravity of this situation.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it from questions for us. So thank you for your time this morning, Mr. Parker, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
All right, you guys have a good day.
Thank you. Next up, we have Harrison Switchenberg. Mr. Switchenberg.
Yes, I am here. My apologies.
No problem. Go right ahead.
Good morning. My name is Harrison E. Switzenberg. In 2016, I was charged and then a few months later convicted of manufacturing and distribution of a Schedule 4 non-narcotic by the name of clonazepam that I had a prescription for. I completed my sentence, which was probation. I actually got sober in jail for the 89 days that I sat awaiting my bond hearing. And since then, I have been able to obtain primary placement and sole custody of my daughter, obtained my driver's license. I have maintained my sobriety as well. I work with people who have PTSD and who were abused, who are struggling with substance abuse themselves. It's been a hard road in a lot of ways, but I'm grateful for it. I put a lot of hard work into not just myself, but also my community and outside of my community, trying to help people find their way to work through their addiction, to work through their trauma. And I would be honored to get a pardon. I believe that it would help me pursue what I'm trying to do in the spiritual and emotional healing aspects, and in the fitness and nutritional industry as well, which I have also been pursuing the last many years, trying to be a good role model and inspiration for people trying to just live a healthier, better life. And I think that it would also be a huge inspiration to the other people that are struggling with addiction or their sobriety, to see that, you know, you can be successful, that you can be acknowledged for that, and that you can help the world around you and be a positive influence, and that change is actually possible no matter what you've been through and no matter what you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Switchenberg. Questions from the board? Eric.
Good morning. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Just wanted to ask you a little bit more about some of the work you're doing in the community. I appreciate you sharing about how you're helping individuals who have experienced trauma and the link to substance misuse. Is that through a formal organization? Is that kind of informal mentoring? Just any more details about that you're willing to share?
It's more informal, where people have heard about my success with sobriety, known my background and how deep into addiction I was, and seeing that I was able to get out and, you know, coming to me for advice on how to work through their trauma and their abuse and how to stay sober, things that they can do to, you know, maintain their sobriety as well, because getting sober can be the easy part. Staying sober for the long term is the hard part, and seeing that I've been able to do that for a decade now is very inspiring, and just giving people the tools that they need to not just get, but maintain their sobriety, which is the most important part.
All right. Thank you for your response, and congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you very much.
Reverend Hancock.
Just to follow up, how do you maintain your sobriety?
I maintain my sobriety in a multitude of different ways. I notice I'm very a busy-bodied person. I like to be active, so I train daily, sometimes twice a day. I go on long hikes. I talk to people in and outside of the community. I am intellectual, so I love to learn about anything and everything. Literally, I spend a lot of time learning. I do meditation practices. I'm very self-aware about my feelings and how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, working through things in the moment. Whether it's a good day or bad day, I like to take those steps back and realize, just how grateful I am and how appreciative I am to be alive, and that I can do this and I can experience this beautiful life and not just have a positive impact on the world around me, but also enjoy it along the way and see people grow and bring people together and be able to connect and communicate with people on a deeper level.
And in your application, you indicated that you're receiving disability. How does your disability affect your sobriety?
My disability doesn't affect my sobriety negatively. I think that, honestly, at this point, working into doing something better is a huge motivator, and the pardon would help that. But I don't think that that's negatively impacted it at all. I think that it possibly could have helped at the beginning as well.
Okay. And one minor question about the offense.
Yes,
In your application, you say you gave the pills to your friend.
I did.
She says she bought the pills from you.
A discrepancy that I would love to rectify. I know that we shared a lot, and that we had a group of friends that, we did. We abused substances, and things just kind of went around. That is her side of it. I know that I was very giving. They were very giving. She was very giving as well when we were friends.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Judge Gravers.
So it looks like, sir, that you have several domestic violence related convictions from 2012, 2014. Can you talk about what those were about?
Yes, I have two of them, and they were in Grant County, and they were between me and my grandmother having disputes about money. We used to own a shop, my grandfather's metalwork shop, which before that used to be my great uncle Carl and my grandfather's gas station, where we build metal artwork. Ellis Nelson, he's very well known for that all over the world. And at the time, it was me and my grandfather and my uncle Thomas Nelson who, built the artwork and had a really good time doing that. And it was a dispute over money. And when the authorities showed up, it was William Schramm, the sheriff at the time. He said, I sympathize with you. The cops were called. Something has to happen. She is the elder and you are in your 20s. So we're going to take you. I'm not going to take an elderly woman to jail. That there has to be a resolution here. And this is it. And then that same thing happened again since I was on bond. There was a disagreement yet again about money. And then that ended up resulting in me going back because I was already on bond. So they said, you already have a charge over you and that we're just going to take you again.
Well, when you say a dispute over money, it must have been, did it get physical? I mean,
No. It was strictly verbal, where my grandmother wanted some money from me and my uncle, and what we gave her wasn't enough. She would, not be happy with what we gave her, and she would get loud and make it very vocal that it's her shop, it's her husband. And I take full responsibility and accountability for my part in it. It was a family squabble that got loud. The neighbor called the cops, and unfortunately it did result in something more than it needed to be. It looks a lot worse than it actually was. It was just a typical family dispute, really.
And your probation was extended in 2017. Why was that?
In 2017, can you elaborate?
No, I'm asking you to elaborate. Why was your probation extended?
In 2017?
Yes.
Well, I was given 3 years probation for the crime that I committed in 2016. From 2016 until 2019, when I got off of probation successfully, I'm not aware of an extension because I was given through William Andrew Sharp, who was my convicting judge, gave me 3 years probation. And that was in November of 2016. And I completed that in November of 2019. I'm not aware of any extension because I had 3 years to serve anyway, and I've served them successfully.
Was your probation on your misdemeanor, your underlying misdemeanor, was that extended?
I'm not sure. I know that the felony charge that I applied for a pardon for was why I got my probation. I know that I have charges read in and dismissed, but I didn't have any hang up while I was on probation. I actually met a very good agent in Grant County that helped me a lot in that time. So I'm sorry, I can't answer it effectively because I'm not sure what that would be about. I wasn't made aware of that. Nobody communicated anything to me like that at all when I was on probation.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Cindy?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
As part of the application process, applicants are encouraged to submit letters of support.
Yep.
So you chose not to, and then also in your application, section 16 talks about community service activities you participated in. We're looking for ways people have given back to the community.
Okay.
And so you put not applicable, no letters of support. Why not?
The not applicable would be because it wasn't anything formal. This is all people coming to me and me reaching out to people. And a lot of them would remain anonymous for people that I've helped or came to me. As far as the letters of recommendation, that was a massive oversight on my part. In fact, last night I was watching the July 10th hearings, and so I knew that this question was coming, that I didn't realize that was part of the application process, because I have north of 40 people that I could have got letters of recommendation from, some being arresting officers, local law enforcement, the chief, the sheriff, veterans, friends, family, the judge, the convicting judge. And when I heard that last night, the first time it came up, I was like, oh, yeah, that is a massive oversight on my part. And that was a huge mistake.
Okay. If you've watched, you've heard.
Yeah.
It's very helpful for the board because you want us to see who you are today, not who you were back then. And so those letters, whether they're from family or neighbors or whatever, they're very helpful for the board. But thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schwichtenberg. I think that covers it from us. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Next up, we have Everett Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence? Okay, I do not see Mr. Lawrence in the Zoom, so we will come back to him if he joins, and in the meantime, move on to Antonio Jones. Mr. Jones.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, 1 second here. Okay. Is that it? Can we see there?
Yep, perfect.
Okay. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, hi, my name is Antonio Jones. At 17, I was convicted of delivering a controlled substance. I come from a single family home. I was raised by my mom. And when I went outside, I was influenced, honestly. I was around the corner from my house at a dope house. I knew that it was a dope house. The guys in the neighborhood hanged out at that place, and it was kind of a kicking it spot. So the place was raided, and I went to jail, and I was charged with delivering a controlled substance, conspiracy of delivering a controlled substance, because the substance was delivered under the door and the officers couldn't see who sold it to them. So I'm thinking that's where the conspiracy charge came from. But once they came in, I told them that it was me who served the drugs under the door. I went to jail. I was 17, about to be 18. I was given 10 years for that. I was given 1 year in the house correction and 9 years probation. So after that, my life of just up and down, in and out of jail started. Um, honestly, lost no no one to look up to for guidance when it came to any type of structure or what I should be doing with my life at that moment. Um, to be honest, and I hate to say this on camera, but going to prison was the best thing that happened to me. After I figured out what it was I was supposed to be doing with my life. So I went in and out for a few years back and forth. The last time I went to prison, I did 30 months. And during that time, I really sat with myself. And I was just like, what am I doing? Who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? And that's where my life changed. So when I was released from prison that time, this beautiful woman, she's a pastor. Her name is Pastor Cheryl Brown. She gave me an opportunity. And I took full advantage of that opportunity. She let me work. Well, while in prison, I obtained my HSCD. So when I came out, she allowed me to work at a school, which is Believers in Christ Christian Academy. I was a teacher's aide. I was working in a school with the kids for 5 years. And that was my form of giving back. It completely changed me as a human. I loved it. I did it for 5 years. After that, after that ended, I transitioned to what I do now. Well, I do multiple things now, but I'm a fitness coach. I do that every day, and I have at least 17 clients that I work with every week throughout the week. I also have my dealer's license, so I run and I do my wholesale with my cars. I buy them from one auction, sell them at another auction. I've also started RG Logistics, which is a company where I drop off items from, I go to this warehouse, pick up the items, and then I drop them off. My son and I, we do that day to day. Um, I love it. I do. I love who I am today. I love what I do today. And with everyone who speaks to me, or should I say everyone I speak to, I want to be able to tell them, hey, I've done this, that, and the third, and it was negatively. But those negative things have prompted me to be the person I am today. Me, the person I am today, I'm able to reach back and dig for other people who didn't have that guidance who didn't have the guidance that I didn't have. And when I see that, I'm able to help from that place. But I enjoy who I am today. I love it. I wouldn't take back any of these things because it made me who I am today. I honestly believe it made me better.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Let's open up to questions from the board. Board members? Cindy?
Good morning, Mr. Jones.
Good morning.
So you're asking today to be pardoned for 4 different felonies that happened from the ages of 17 to 23.
Yes,
6
ma'am.
years, right? Okay. So here's my question for you. The first one you put on probation for a long time, you get a year in jail. You engaged in criminal conduct again, fleeing and eluding. And there was a shot fired from a gun. You say accidentally, you were climbing over a fence, I think.
Yes.
When the shot fired, but certainly endangered people in the area. You get prison for that.
Absolutely.
Then you're on work release. You get the privilege of being out on work release and you don't
Yes.
come back.
Just still lost.
I know. Just let me finish this
Okay.
arc. No, you know the story, but let me just finish. You don't
Okay.
come back from work release, so you get an escape charge. And then again in the last one, 2006, you again fleeing, going 60 miles an hour through stop signs. I mean, the danger to the community. So what probation didn't change you, prison didn't change you, work release. What was it that made you change at 23 to say, I'm done now, I'm done?
It was a guy that I looked up to in prison. I don't know why, I just looked up to him, but he went to court and they gave him boot camp. And that guy came back and I'm sitting out on the courtyard and I'm looking at him and he's speaking to other guys and he said, yeah, man, they gave me boot camp and earned release, but I'm going to save it for my next prison. I'm going to save it for next time. And when I heard him say that, I'm just like, dude, I do not want to go out like that. I do not want to waste my life in prison. Like, I just don't. So instead of sitting around playing the cards and the dominoes, I immediately went and started educating myself. I went to school every day. I went to the gym. Anything that prompted me building on me, that's just what I did. And I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah, and congrats on your HSED and engaging in those things that could change. You report that you've been sober since 2009.
Yes.
Right? Okay. How do you, maybe through fitness, but how do you maintain it?
Fitness is my source of therapy. It's everything to me. Like my wife was just telling me, like, you'll lose your mind without that gym. Because whenever I'm in a space where I'm just kind of like unsure, shaky, wavery, that's my solitude. Like that's my place where I go and I figure it out. Whether I'm doing it for an hour and a half, 2 hours, that's my source of therapy. But it helps me throughout everything.
Okay.
It really does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge Kremers?
Good morning, sir. I want to talk about what appears to be a series of tax and unemployment compensation warrants against you by Milwaukee County.
Say it again, sir.
So it looks like, and admittedly, you have a fairly common last name. So I just want to ask you about these. There's in 2025, an unsatisfied unemployment compensation benefit warrant against you for $49,000. Do you know anything about that?
Absolutely not. No.
Do you have any delinquent tax warrants or unemployment compensation warrants that you're aware of?
No, sir. Not at all.
What about let's see, any judgments against you by the city of Milwaukee for like $900 or $440? Do you know anything about those?
No.
Did you try and change your name in 2018?
I did. I started that process. I was about to change my name to a king.
Okay.
Yes.
That one was dismissed. So I don't know, as you're sitting right here, I just have a list of these record entries, but like I said, your last name is certainly not uncommon. So, but you, as far as you know, none of those tax warrants, unemployment compensation warrants are yours.
No. No, sir. I haven't had any tax issues or anything like that.
Okay. And then the other question I have, 2013, were you arrested for a felony strangulation and suffocation domestic violence case?
2013.
Yes.
I remember in 2013, my sister and I had a verbal disagreement. It did get loud, it got vulgar. I went down to the district. I went to the district for a few hours and then I went home. But I didn't go to jail or have a
Yeah,
conviction.
no, it says you weren't prosecuted. I was just trying to find out what the background story was, but you said it was you and your sister.
Yeah, that was me and my sister at my mom's house. I think it was some type of gathering. Um, we got into a verbal disagreement. Yeah, it got heated that day. I remember that. And I went down to the district and then I went home later on that evening.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Reverend Hancock?
Mr. Jones, that's a pretty inspiring prison story. And just where were you in prison when that happened?
I was in Sturtevant in Racine.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jones. That's everything from us. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
You too. You guys enjoy your Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Douglas Hanson. Mr. Hanson? Mr. Hanson, we can see you in the Zoom, but we cannot hear you if you're speaking.
Am I good now?
We can hear you. We'll try prompting you to turn on your video though.
Let's see, start my.
There we go.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not tech savvy, that's for sure.
That's okay. That was resolved pretty quickly by our standards, so go right ahead.
Okay. I have it written down because I'm a little nervous. Hello and good morning, everybody. I'm Douglas Hanson. I'd like to begin by telling you a little bit about my crimes and the sentence that I had received. Before that, I'll give you a little background on my family. I started stealing at a young age. My family had very little structure. I was basically raising myself. I didn't know how to get things that I needed without just taking them. When I was real young, I was 2 years old. We had a house fire and lost my bigger brother, and that turned my family upside down. Both my parents turned to alcohol, basically left us to raise ourselves. And from there, I started finding the wrong people and doing the wrong stuff. Let's see, I progressed into stealing cars, burglarizing homes, garages, hanging out with the wrong people, just doing altogether the wrong things in life. I was sent, I received the first sentence was probation and a little bit of jail time. I did not complete my probation. I was sent to an ATR, an alternative to revocation. They sent me to a minimum prison camp. I was 16 years old. I ordered cigarettes off the canteen. They sent me my cigarettes, and then I received a major violation for having cigarettes as a minor, which I didn't understand. So they were going to send me back to Douglas County and I forget that I would have been revocated. I decided it would have been better to take off and leave and enjoy my freedom for a day or two. And I received an escape charge, which that sent me to prison for, when they added everything up, I think I got 4 years, 9 months. I completed my sentence. I did my time in there. I received my HSAD. I turned my whole life around. Everything in there, it was crazy to me. I live in a small town. I was a small town kid. Just in there was crazy for me. It's still been. I go through therapy and stuff for other things. I just boy, I don't know. I'm so nervous. I'm sorry. I ruined a lot of people's lives, including my own, and I did cause a lot of stress for my family by doing the things that I've done. It's been 20 plus years, and I have turned my life around completely. I have a wife, 3 kids, a home, 40 acres. I contribute to the society every day. I'm a volunteer firefighter for our county here, our township. I have a very good support group here. My family is a great support group. My oldest son has MS, so I'm trying my hardest to do everything that I can for him before he's in a wheelchair. So I don't know. I just want to let the past be the past and move on.
Thank you, Mr. Hanson. We'll open up to questions from the board. Reverend Hancock.
Mr. Hanson, from the time you were 16 until you were 24, you were just pretty much, as your wife said, doing a lot of stupid stuff.
I was out of control. I was out of
No.
control.
How did you change that?
When I went at that early of an age, when I was 16 and I got sent to the county jail, as opposed to being served as a juvenile and sent somewhere else, being around grown men and their mentality for a young kid in that predicament, it scared the daylights out of me. And then going to prison after that, it made it even worse. I can't. It's just, it was, I guess it scared, I got scared straight.
Okay. And all of this happened. You've lived your whole life in Douglas County, right?
For the most part, yes. Yes.
Okay. And all your crimes were in Douglas County.
Yes.
And now you work for Douglas County.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
I received I have a Class A CDL. I'm a first responder, volunteer firefighter. I volunteer at the Animal Humane Society in town. I've tried, like, a really big part of this is because my kids growing up, when I went to school to go to their they played basketball. It's all we had out here in Solon Springs, but they played basketball, and I couldn't go on any of the trips. I couldn't be any of the chaperones. I couldn't do any of that because I have felonies and they won't let you around. You know, I can't go on the road with them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Hanson, just a couple from me. I see in your application materials that you talk about attending AA. Are you sober now?
Yes.
And for how long?
It's been almost, let's see, there's been a few slips, but been about the same time, roughly about 18 years, somewhere in there.
Okay. And how do you
I've had a
maintain
few
that
slips in
sobriety?
there. What's that?
Well, how do you maintain that sobriety? Or based on what you just said, maybe what have you recognized that has caused you to slip in the past, and how do you avoid that now?
My support group is insanely helpful. Going to church, attending church. I didn't do that before. My dad passed away and he always wanted me to go. So I started going to his church, and I met a really good pastor, and he really helps me with a lot of things, not only spiritually, but like everyday things that I go through. So I have a lot of support. I do go to meetings. If I get too wound up and too bound up, I'll go to AA meetings and talk with them there too. And other than that, I try to keep my time pretty occupied, go to work. I mean, with 40 acres of land, you got a lot of stuff to do. And then I'm a volunteer firefighter and some other stuff. So I try to really stay busy. And then with my oldest son, he has MS and it's a rare case. I just try to really spend a lot of time with him and do everything that we can while we can.
Thank you. And then one last thing, which is really just something for you to look into, Mr. Hanson. I noticed that one of the reasons that you're asking for a pardon is because you'd like to own a firearm. And I just want to note for you that because you have juvenile charges, you may still be barred from holding a firearm, even if you are pardoned for the offenses before us. We don't have the details of those cases, so we can't know for sure, but it's something I would encourage you to look into if that's something that you're still interested in.
I tried to get my juvenile record, and here in Superior, Douglas County, they said they have no access to anything that I have for juvenile. Otherwise, I would have submitted everything. And like all my convicting judges, DAs, and most of the police, I couldn't get a hold of them either. Everyone's retired or passed away.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that records are a challenge for many applicants. But again, I just encourage you to look into it if you are interested in holding a firearm.
Just for
regardless.
hunting purposes, it's, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, I've made it this far. I'm sure it's not going to hurt me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hanson. I appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Carrie Prather. Ms. Prather? Ms. Prather, I believe we have you in the Zoom. I'm seeing an iPhone that appears to be you, but if you're speaking, we can't hear you.
I don't know how to turn my camera on. I'm
Oh,
trying to turn.
okay, we can hear you now. We'll try prompting you for video. You should get a pop-up. There we go.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I am Carrie Prather. I was convicted of felony class H for identity theft. I grew up a little bit about myself. I grew up in church, so my whole life was pretty much secluded from the world. When I got grown and moved out of my mom's house, I had my first apartment, which was like off of Silver Spring. During that time, I met this lady in the apartment building, and she was just like, I was a young mother. She said, "Oh, well, hey, I have a lot of different things in your apartment. Do you have a phone? I see you have a little young daughter." And I'm like, "No, I don't have a phone. I don't, I was there alone. It was just me and my daughter." And she said, "Well, I can get you a phone. It's called a burner phone." I'm not knowing what a burner phone really is at that time. Like I said, I grew up in church. We don't know about a lot of those things. So she introduced me to a lot of different things, and she got me this, helped me get this phone. Well, me not knowing the case behind the situation, come to find out the phone was somebody's actual information. At the time, I was only in my early 20s. I should have known better, but I did not know. I was blinded, did not know about a lot of different things. Ended up getting scared and seeing that the police was looking for me. And all I was told when I talked to somebody about it was, don't talk to them, lie, tell them this, tell them that. So made up this story that I got the information, which was told to me by the lady who helped me get the phone. She said, "Well, tell them that you met somebody somewhere." And she helped me with this story. That's what I told the police. I was scared. I tried to avoid from meeting with the police because I thought it would just go away. Mm-mm, that's not what happened. Eventually, my uncle, because the police spoke with my uncle, a couple of family members, they said, "No, you go turn yourself in. You go and do this." Well, the lady literally threatened me. I was so scared. I was panicking, scared. Ended up being arrested. Went in to the jail cell. And she said, "Listen, I'm going to lose my kid." We were in the same cell. "I'm going to lose my kids. They found drugs in my house. They found this, they found that. I need you not to say this. Don't do that." And I'm literally terrified of this lady. I ended up moving out of my apartment. And when I moved, I felt a little bit more safer because I didn't have to worry about going into that apartment building and running into her anymore. So then I started cooperating, went to court appointments, did everything that I needed to do. Um, I did have a little situation with my stepfather. He was on drugs really bad, and he became abusive to my mother. When I went and I tried to talk to him about it, and I'm like, "Hey, don't put your hands on my mom. Whatever y'all got going on, just talk through it." Him and his brother tried to jump me. When they tried to jump me, I had turned around and I had a can of mace and I sprayed him to avoid from him continuing trying to swat me. I left the scene. Next thing I know, I have to go to court because I'm trying to fight this. But I did, it was during the time I was on probation, and I did let my parole officer, my PO officer know that, hey, this is what's going on. This, and she was very aware that he has a drug history, really bad drug history. Um, After then, our bond and he started seeking help. Once he started seeking help, our situation got better. During that time, I started battling a lot of different things in life, and I felt like this is my payback for what I did. Despite of me not knowing, I know now. I felt like my whole journey in life has been a lesson for me, saying like, hey, this is what you did to somebody else. This is how it felt. This is this is what you're going through, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. 2000, I'm sorry. In 2018, I became sick. I was diagnosed with cancer. I've been battling cancer. I've been a travel CNA. I'm sorry. I've been a travel CNA since the early 2000s, off and on. Um, caregiver CNA. Didn't pay much when I would have to work as a CNA. I mean, not a CNA, a caregiver. My health wasn't getting better. I did go to schooling. Um, a lot of my letters of recommendations the people that I had to recommend and be a be a supportive system for me, they're passed. So I didn't have anyone else to write letters of recommendation. Now, I am so sorry. Now I am residing in the state of Texas because I moved here to better myself far as getting my health together. I was there in Wisconsin and the doctors were at a standstill with trying to um, figure out treatment for me. But treatment was at a standstill and they were at limited resource. So I've been here in Texas for the past five, about 5 years, about 5, 6 years. I do have hope in recovery that the treatment that I'm going through is going to get better. And I'm seeking pardon for so that if or if, I'm 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 just emotional right now, but I'm seeking pardon so that if my treatment be a success, that I can further myself and continue to better myself and become into nursing. With nursing, it's kind of hard to go into the nursing field with a criminal record, a felony at that.
Thank you, Ms. Prather. We'll open up to questions from the board. Board members? Judge Kremers.
Good morning, Ms. Prather.
Good morning.
I just have I have two questions. One, did you pay restitution in this case? You were ordered to pay $2,800.
I wanted to, and trust me, I really did want to, but right now I'm not able to. And throughout the years, I have not made much money at all after paying bills and medical bills, and everything just started accumulating. So I was not able to. But my my long-term goal is to get that taken care of. Right now, I'm just completely on disability.
And 2018, did you have a judgment against you in Milwaukee County for $25,000?
Not that I know of. If that's probably in result to
Maybe a medical bill or?
It might have been a medical bill. Like I have had a lot of medical debt, and I literally just came out of bankruptcy due to, like, if I go to the doctor right now for a treatment, one of my treatments afterwards, even after insurance, chemo and radiation, I was still owed $3,000.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Reverend Hancock.
Did you ever work at Interstate Blood Bank?
No, I did not. That was the other defendant, the other co-defendant on the case. That's where the information came from. I didn't learn who, what, when, where, all of that stuff was obtained was through that lady. She provided all of that. She did everything.
And when all this happened, it was just you and your daughter, correct?
Yes,
And how's your daughter doing now?
she's doing fine. Thank God that she did not make any mistakes of what I've made growing up in life. She she's actually I'm very blessed to have a daughter like her. She's a citizen role model.
Good.
And
Thank
she's
you.
raising her son, which my grandson, and she's doing an excellent job.
Good. Is she in Texas or is she in Milwaukee?
Yes, when she came here, she came when I started my treatment at MD Anderson. She came right with me.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Ms. Prather. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jennifer Backham. Ms. Backham?
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I wrote my statement down, but I'm just going to use it as notes. So back in 2011, I was convicted with second-degree reckless endangering safety as a party to a crime. What happened was my cousin informed me that he was being harassed by someone I knew. We went to pre-college program together, and the previous year, on the night of July 4th, we were coming back from, my boyfriend at the time and myself were coming back from Milwaukee, and I saw him driving next to us, and the situation escalated, and I let my anger get the best of me. I had a CO2 weapon at the time, and I fired it at his vehicle. I didn't realize it was going to shatter the window, and I was compliant, and I was, how do you say, transparent with everything, because I didn't want any more issues after that. The result was 20 days in a correctional facility, 3 years of probation, anger management, and restitution. I completed that by March of 2014. Since then, I have been dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome, and I'm feeling like a very low self-worth, or if I should do something, or, as in like bettering myself, like, or could I even do it? Would people even like believe me, and things like that. So I've had a kind of like an up and down kind of life because of my mental stability after the situation. However, I tried not to let that get the best of me, and I actually managed to attend UW-Madison. I became an executive board member of a student organization and a lecture manager, which the organization's mission was to help students, or the retention rate and the passing rate of like the highest most dropped courses or most failed courses, or most what's it called? Yeah, failed courses. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Since then, I obtained my life insurance license. It was a little difficult, so it kind of like everything I tried to do with my life, I was always reminded of what I did back in 2010. And I always wanted to remain compliant or transparent because I didn't want anybody to think that I was lying or like I'm trying to, I don't know. I don't know the word for that. I'm sorry. Like maybe sneak around, like, cause they're like on application that they would say like, have you ever? And some people are like, oh, after so long, you don't have to. And I'm like, I will mention it anyways, because I want to do things the right way. But after I still have my life insurance license. I just completed the renewal. I'm also a medical courier contractor. So an independent contractor, I transport organs and surgical equipment across the United States. I'm also an STA, which is a security threat assessment certified professional. So I'm able to inspect cargo before transportation, whether by ground or by air. I'm basically the frontline protector before cargo is shipped. Recently, I became an independent data analyst. So I govern data integrity internationally, and I specifically trained AI models that are utilized globally. And I have been working on building other businesses. However, I do run into the constant reminder of what I have, and the imposter syndrome kind of like kicks in, and my insecurity raises, and I'm kind of shy to be out there, even though, I know with my line of work, I can't hide. So since then, I've been trying to manage things as best as I could.
Thank you, Ms. Backham. We'll open up to questions from the board. Board members, Reverend Hancock.
Just a couple of questions. In your application, you talk about volunteering in your neighborhood in Madison. Do you still live in that neighborhood, and what neighborhood is it?
Okay, so I'm actually here right now. It's my parents' neighborhood. I've been here for a very long time, since 1990. It's the Sandburg area, right in front of Easttown. So it's kind of like
Oh, yeah,
behind,
sure.
I
Okay.
think by Randall.
Right. Okay. And let's talk about the crime a little bit. So you were coming back from Milwaukee and you were on I-94 on the interstate, right?
Yes.
And you recognized this other car,
Yeah.
and you took what you described as a BB gun out of your purse.
Yes.
And did you usually carry that gun in your
No,
purse?
no, I actually was just a couple weeks before that, I was like, oh, I wanted to kind of play around with a CO2 BB gun for, because I've never experienced one, and we were shooting like cans or something like that. And I think with my bad judgment at the time, and having it with me was what incite my, I guess, like, I felt like the invincibility, or like it's not the invincibility, more so it's more so like, oh, I wanted to protect my cousin from ever being harassed from this individual again. And I took it too far, and I realized it was reckless, it was wrong. And even though I thought it's a toy gun, I didn't realize how much damage it would actually do.
Well, but you said you'd been shooting at cans and stuff. So you had
I
fired,
wanted to, yes.
you had fired the gun before, correct?
Just a couple of times, yes.
Right.
I didn't realize the window, though. Sorry.
And this was a CO2 BB gun, so it's
Yeah.
not just a toy.
Yeah, I realize that now.
And you knew that because you'd shot it before.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Cindy?
Good morning, Ms. Backham. You probably heard me ask
Mhm.
other applicants this, but you chose not to submit any letters of support with your application. Can you tell the board why not?
I honestly, I forgot about that when you mentioned it now when I was watching a few videos, but I think I recall back in the time with my insecurities and my going through like the imposter syndrome, which I still have. I felt like I couldn't ask anybody for help or if they would, today now I do. Like I have people that have been there for me and helped me realize my worth and like help push me to keep going and do better with my life. So today if I ask the people in my life now, I know I would most likely have a few letters of recommendations. However, back at the time of application, I just felt like I didn't really have anybody, or I just was too insecure to ask.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? All right. Thank you, Ms. Backham. Appreciate your time
Thank you.
today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
I hope you guys enjoy your weekend too. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and our last applicant of the first morning session is Catherine Scott. Ms. Scott?
Hello.
Hello.
I first would like to thank everybody for their time. I am Catherine Scott, and I'm here today because I worked hard at being a better person. Pardon would mean that my growth matters. A while back, I wanted to chaperone in my grandchildren's field trips, and the school told me I couldn't. And this put my life into perspective for me. You have my volunteer information. I submitted, and since then, I've volunteered at a Christian sober living program. I've taught at my third Celebrate Recovery program and did many prayer walks in the community. I was charged in the 2 parties in the crime of 2 armed robberies. And I realized I am guilty of keeping the company of people that that had committed crimes. The going nowhere people that I call them now. I kicked an alcoholic addiction, so I thought I could stop this new drug at any time, which was crack cocaine. And its cause and effects is the reason I'm here. Too much of watching the people that I was with use drugs, the 3 of them, and then there was 2 months of my actually using. After I started using with them, I faced death 2 times with Russian roulette that he played. He was the most abusive man that I ever was with. And I had broken ribs and knee problems. Even now, I had 3 black eyes, which I still see a doctor for one of them. But I know that God needed me alive. On that day, I was told to drive Carl's girlfriends. The first one was to his girlfriends, and then the second one was to his cousin's apartment to get money. I didn't know of the crimes that were committed until the police told me. I was devastated when they said he hurt an old man, and I still pray for him. This was the first time I've ever been in jail. I was able to hold Bible studies in my cell. I did the TAP program, which is a 95% failure record, but I was determined. and I knew I would never use or walk that road again. I took classes, was reading, church, groups, all to learn that I am worthwhile and I do not have to be a victim no more. I volunteer many ways in the community, and I twist balloons to see their laughter. I am a hands-on Nana of having 3 children as a single parent who had 9 children who have 5.5 kids, which one's due in November. I've been caring for my mom for about 10 years, but I do have my own place, a duplex, and I've been there since 2003. I am sincerely so sorry that this happened, but I see the valuable lessons that I've learned to better help and relate to others. I have a new and better life with a fantastic family and friends who are all also working on bettering themselves. I'm very blessed. I can even see the positive energy in the things my grandchildren do. They never lived having my abusive dad, who taught me to find abusive men. This journey has turned my life around to help others and not listen or believe the awful lies that they tell them, to not feel alone, to make our own decisions and find better, healthier ways and not get stuck in the abuse. Why a pardon, you ask? To be able to volunteer in my great-grandchildren's schools here, to get a passport. And I'm hoping my next direction is going to be in the prison ministry. I know there is still a process in this, but I'm hoping that my brother, who has advanced ALS, and my mom, who has had many health problems lately, who will be 95 on August 2nd, that they will be able to share this with me. I've already made peace with God, and I pray for that old man. And I also pray for those who offended me as I spread the love of God, because I believe prayers are in the mix of 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Morning, Ms. Scott.
Good morning.
So in your application and when you describe the crime in section 9, you say you didn't know that the co-defendant was going to rob the people at these motels.
Yeah.
But the criminal complaint tells a different story. When you were interviewed by police, you had the BB gun you had gotten from a neighbor, and you had it in the trunk of your car, and you were aware your co-defendant took the BB gun out of the car. You also told the police that you were aware that he was going to rob them. So I'm a little confused by the inconsistencies of what you stated at the time and now your presentation and your application. Can you explain those discrepancies?
I guess I'm a little confused too. I was under the influence of cocaine, and I do know that what I was told was that they were going to see his girlfriend, and that's the first one. And then the second one, he said he was going to get money from his cousin at the apartment. But I don't remember saying that. But again, but I didn't know. I do remember that I didn't know when we went to the gas station to get water in my radiator that here he was across the street instead at the apartment where I left him off, that he was across the street at the hotel.
Yeah.
So
from the criminal complaint at the time, it's about the Nine Springs Motel one. You stated that you were aware, based on your conversation with the other two, that they were going to the motel where your co-defendant was going to commit a crime. And that's different from going to collect money from somebody he owes. And then later in the criminal complaint, it says, Scott stated that she did in fact have knowledge of the weapon that was used in the armed robberies and that it was in fact a BB gun, which a neighbor of hers had brought over to her house because you didn't want it in your home. You placed it in the trunk of your car. And that prior to responding to the Nine Springs Hotel, you opened the trunk, at which time your co-defendant removed the weapon and the other co-defendant took possession of it.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hide it. I just don't remember that that was what happened.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Ms. Scott, the district attorney in Dane County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel immensely happy because I need to show my family, my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that you might do mistakes, but that if you need to face up to them, and I would be very honored to not have this hanging over my head.
You know, the governor will make the final decision, but
Yeah.
the DA supports your getting a pardon.
That's great. I feel so much better at that. And actually, the governor knows me.
Oh,
I've been working, well, my cousin for 20 years that my son, we work in the Christmas time with the trees that are for the fallen soldiers. And my cousin for 20 years has been doing that by getting ornaments on the trees, getting them built in the community, and then sending them out to people. And she died in 2022. So I've been working with two different people to getting the names of the people to contact, because we didn't have that off of her computer or anything. So he has been aware of my presence, but not my convictions or my pardon.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge Kremers.
Ms. Scott, I want to follow up on Ms. O'Donnell's questions to you.
Yeah.
Here's my problem, and this is not just for you, but for everybody applying. It's really important to us that people take responsibility for what they did. And if you were coming in here saying, you know, it was so many years ago, I don't remember what happened in this crime. I just know I was convicted of this, this, and this. That would be one thing. But in your application, you're coming in saying you remember that you didn't know anything. And the complaint your statements at the time says you did. So it's not the same thing as saying, you know, so long ago I was under the influence of cocaine. I don't remember exactly what happened, whatever it is. You're taking the affirmative position that no, I remember that I didn't know anything about the robbery. Do you see the distinction and the problem I'm
I
having?
do understand.
Okay, so help me out here.
I don't, in all my heart, believe that I did, but I do know that they did other crimes.
Okay.
I do know that many things he had forced me to do that I didn't agree with. And I don't know if that was the case, then I do believe that that was because of the fact that I was told to do things and not able to do the things that I was known to not do. Does that make sense? I can't hear you now. I can't.
You're muted, Judge Grumers.
I appreciate your response. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. And Reverend Hancock?
In your application, your attorney states that Ms. Scott suffers from PTSD due to the domestic abuse she has experienced, and Ms. Scott does not remember interviewing with police officers at the scene because she was under the influence of cocaine. Is that true?
This was not the first person that I went through domestic abuse with. Unfortunately, it was not the last one either. I've been through that many years of my life. And so, yes, this has been an ongoing problem that I have been seeing both a psychologist and therapy. I also go to AA meetings and all these things to try to resolve those issues. Does that answer your question?
Well, and at the time you were interviewed by the police, you were under the influence of cocaine.
Yeah, when between the two crimes we stopped and got crack between after he got the money.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. We appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Nice to be with you.
We do have one additional applicant from this morning's session, Everett Lawrence, who is unable to join us this morning. We will hear him right at the beginning of the 1 o'clock session this afternoon. And in the meantime, we will move on to our 10 o'clock session from the morning. So welcome, second morning session applicants. My name is Mel Barnes. I am the governor's chief legal counsel and the chair of his pardon advisory board. I'm going to go through some introductions of our board members here today, a little bit of housekeeping about how the hearing will work, and then we will get started hearing from all of you. So with us today, we have Reverend Jerry Hancock, who's the director of the Prison Ministry Project. He previously served as a public defender, a deputy district attorney, and as an administrator at the Department of Justice's Division of Law Enforcement Services. We have board member Judge Jeffrey Kremers, who served on the Milwaukee County Circuit Court for 26 years, including as chief judge for 7 of those years before retiring in 2018. We have board member Cindy O'Donnell, who served as the deputy secretary for the Department of Corrections under Governors Thompson, McCallum, and Doyle. She also served as a division administrator under Attorneys General Lautenschlager and Van Hollen. And we have board member Eric Liberator, who is the Assistant Director of Student Success and an Assistant Teaching Professor at Marquette University Law School. Just a couple of notes about how today's hearing will work. First, please do keep in mind we are being live streamed via Wisconsin Eye and YouTube. For that reason, we're going to ask you to keep your camera off and yourself muted until it's your turn to be heard by the board. If you do run into any IT issues with the Zoom, don't worry. Someone from staff will reach out to you and help you troubleshoot. If it means we need to come back to you because Zoom isn't cooperating when it's your turn, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, we're going to call on folks in the order listed in the agenda and open meeting notice. And each applicant will have 5 minutes total with the board. We're going to ask you to spend the first 3 of those 5 minutes speaking to the questions we sent you in advance of today's hearing. As a reminder, those are to 1, please give us a brief summary of your offense and how your sentence went. We're not here to retry the crime. You don't need to minimize your involvement. We just want to hear from you in your own words what happened. Second, to please give us a brief summary of what you've done since the completion of your sentence. This can be community involvement, employment, essentially how your life is different now than the time of your offense. Third and finally, a brief statement about why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one. Once you've spent 3 minutes speaking to those questions, we'll open it up to any follow-up questions the board may have for you. Don't read too much into it either way if we do or do not have follow-up questions for you. As you know, your applications are quite thorough and we've spent a lot of time with those materials before today's hearing. If we do have questions though, it's important that we leave time to get to those so that we can make a thoughtful recommendation to the governor. Once you're done answering any other questions we have for you, you're welcome to sign off and leave the Zoom hearing. And once everyone's been heard, the board will meet in closed session to decide whether or not to recommend your application to Governor Evers for a pardon. Governor Evers will then make the final decision about whether or not to grant you a pardon, and you'll be notified about the outcome of today's hearing about 1 to 2 months from today. We know that you've been very patient just to get to hearing day, so we thank you for giving us just a little bit more time to get our recommendations to the governor. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with our first applicant of the second morning session, which is Philip Hampton.
Can you see me?
We can hear you. We can't see you quite yet.
Okay, so
There we go.
okay. Hi, my name is Philip Hampton. My crime was possession of cocaine base, crack cocaine with the intent to deliver. I was sentenced to 6 months in CCC with Huber Law. I was on work release and child care because I was finna have a child at the time when this crime was committed. I had 3 years probation. I finished everything with no problems. What I've been doing since my conviction, I've raised 7 children with no problems from the law, no arrests, no drug users, they model citizens, I could say, and I'm happy at that. I've been from job to job as a child, raising myself to be this man that I am. I'm currently working as a truck driver. Me and my daughter at the time who was being born, me and her now she's at the age of 33, which this crime was 33 years ago. We're partners in the truck driving business. And the reason why I'm seeking this pardon is because this felony that I have on my record from the crime that I committed has hindered me from certain jobs, government contracts, and I would like to get this expunged, pardoned, so I can further my career in my truck driving future. I will gladly answer any questions that anybody has to ask me about this, and I take full responsibility for the crime that I committed. I was 17 years old then. I'm a 51-year-old man who's currently on this 8th child.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Hampton.
would never, thank you.
We'll open up to questions. Board members? Reverend Hancock.
Mr. Hampton, the
Yes.
district attorney in Milwaukee who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. Now, Governor Evers will make the final decision, but how does that support make you feel?
That support makes me feel, it makes me feel grateful. Knowing that I could be pardoned from this, it'll make me whole again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Hampton, just a couple for me. I see that in 1997, so quite a while ago, but you had arrest for failure to pay child support. It doesn't look like you were convicted, but can you just tell us Are you current on your child support?
Yes, I am. And what is I'm looking to say about that? The child support. I got off child support. I filled out all the paperwork, got the mother of my child to go to court and say that she didn't want anything else from me because I take care of my children.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Hampton, are you on social media at all?
Yes, I am.
Are you on Facebook,
Yes,
Instagram?
yes,
Okay. And are you aware that other people can see things that you post?
yes.
Okay. There's some pretty offensive content on some of your postings, and I would just urge you to take a look at that, especially since you talked about having children, and I would hate for them to see some of the things that you posted on there.
Some of the things that I posted.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I could take a look at that. Can you point me in the right direction of what was offensive?
I just
that you
encourage
felt
you to review
offensive?
your accounts. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Any other questions from the board for Mr. Hampton? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hampton. That covers it from us then. I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good Friday.
All right, you guys enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you.
Next up, we have Tasha LaFond. Ms. LaFond? And Ms. LaFond, I'll just note while you were getting you on the Zoom, Reverend Hancock is recused from your case, so you'll see him go off video and he won't participate in any of the questioning, and that is why.
Hi, sorry, it's trying to get it ready.
No problem. We can see you now. Go right ahead.
Oh, I just made myself. I'm so sorry. Hold on one sec. There we go. Okay. First of all, I'm very nervous. And very humbled by the experience. So first of all, I'd like to say that my crimes, the two that I wanted pardoned is just two compared to all the crimes that I've committed. Mostly drunk driving. Back in 2001 and 2001, it's been many years. So I just know that it was 2001, 2002, roughly, I had 3 OWIs. The first one was in Shawano. And I got a fine for that. The second one, I got 2 weeks in jail, and that was in Neenah, Winnebago County. And then I actually moved back home to Missouri, and within a year received another drunk driving, which was a felony. I was incarcerated in the state of Missouri for that, and felony parole. I did an interstate compact and came back to Wisconsin. Struggled very much with my addiction. There was like 10 years in between my last one. I finished parole. I can't honestly say that I was sober. I managed to get through parole, and in 2011, I got another drunk driving, and didn't go to court on it. Went to Montana. I was visiting there. My dad was getting out of prison. I went there to try and stop it, and was very much on drugs, and got arrested there for driving under the influence of methamphetamine. But because of the situation, because it was a pretty big case with my dad, they knew the situation and they amended it down to a second DUI and let me go home. I was still a very much broken person. Within months of that, I got was going to get pulled over for my 6th DUI, and I went on a high-speed chase, and I went through this town of Menasha and wrecked my car. I ended up getting a year. They ended up only charging me with a 3rd and 4th DUI. I got a year of Huber, 6 months Huber, 6 months house arrest. I'd like to say that my drug use and stuff ended there. It did not. I went on, I did complete probation. I think it was 4 to 5 years. I'm not quite sure. I got off in 2016, the end of 2016. I went to treatment September of 2016. Very much struggled for another year. My mom passed away. No excuse. But I thought it was an excuse then. Everything came to a head at 2017. I think I was rock bottom. I hurt a lot of people, done a lot of things. There's still I think there's retail theft in there many years ago. All through my addiction, I hurt a lot of people, but I thought I was only hurting myself. May 20th, me and my husband got clean. I went to Nova for 30 days and then on to Casa Clare for the next 90 to 120 days. From there on, I still sometimes speak at Nova. Sometimes I speak at Casa Clare, tell my story. I am 100% sober since May 20th, 2017. I went on to, I had a small period of sobriety in 2013. I was able to get my GED in that time. So when I got sober in 2017, I found purpose, giving back. I was a treasurer at the Nova Group meeting. Now I got my college degree and associate's degree in behavioral science, and I am now a substance abuse counselor at Wisconsin Resource Center. I've been there since 2 weeks out of college. I actually got the job. I run dual diagnosis program for people that have severe schizophrenia, bipolar, and addiction. I actually, restorative justice, I've never actually been a part of it. I've sent in for the graduations. I actually was supposed to start this Tuesday, but we were part of the tornado. We were on Broad Street, so we're displaced. My house was demolished. So we bought a house. We repaired our credit. We repaired our relationships. Okay, so I just want you guys to know that I have been a broken person my whole life. I was raised in a very abusive home. It's no excuse for anything that I've ever done to anybody. I was just a broken person and I didn't know what I didn't know. But my dad was convicted of raping me. I was raised in that. I actually had a child from that. My child is 28 years old, healthy, wonderful. I was given nothing to live. I had no idea how to live. That's not who I am anymore. I'm still in therapy. I'm trying to heal from it. The reason that I want a pardon is because I also work part-time at the airport, and it restricts some of the places that I can go. I have a 16-year-old still. I have 6 kids, 7 grandkids. But but my son wants to go to Japan. We want to go to different places. I want to take him there. And I just feel like I want, in the prison system that I work, like you have to be the change that you want to see. And I feel like I don't want to limit to my healing, if that makes sense. I feel like I was never meant to be all of what I went through or what I put other people through. I just want to continue to grow and continue to heal and continue to give back. And I don't want to be an embarrassment to my children and my grandchildren. And yeah, I mean, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. LaFond. I will open up for questions, but I just want to say I'm really sorry about the damage you suffered in the tornado, and I'm really glad to see you're okay. It was a very scary storm.
We're all safe. Yeah.
Good. Judge Kremers.
Good morning, Ms. LaFond. You present an extremely compelling story. Your background story is horrific. You don't need me to tell you that. But I do have a question about something that you said. If I heard you right, it sounded like you told us that you were convicted of a felony in Missouri for drunk driving.
Yes.
And is that still on your record?
It is still.
So
It's,
go ahead.
sorry, I do plan on trying to get a pardon there as well. But it's from 2003. It's a third DUI, or 2004, sorry.
I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
you understood that if we were to recommend a pardon and the governor were to grant one, it wouldn't have anything to do with your Missouri
Yeah.
felony, and whatever impediments felonies are having in your life might still be there because of that one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I do understand that. Yep.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board? Cindy?
Yep. Morning, Ms. LaFond. Thanks for sharing your story today with us. I was looking at your letters of support, and thank you for submitting them. Are you still doing the dog grooming?
I do it. So Subaru Loves Dogs event. I always do that for tail waggers every year. I just did this year too in May. Yeah.
Okay.
I do it here and there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They were very nice letters from people you work with, either then or now. How do you think a pardon would change your life? I mean, you're working for the state now, you're involved in helping others with their addictions. What would change for you, do you think?
So I've been blessed in a different way of like, it really hasn't hindered my like career path, but sorry, I'm trying to get this out the best I know how.
Take your time.
So since I've been a child, I have never felt valued, never worth anything. From time to time, I still struggle with that in the position that I work. I just feel like I want to let people know that no matter where you are, what you've done, that you can recover from this. Every day, the reason that I'm in where I am is because I want to speak life into people. I want them to know that you can change, that you can do something else with your life. And I think that it would change my life because it's just like that full circle of healing for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, Ms. LaFond. We appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jennifer Roberts. Ms. Roberts.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, good morning. Sorry if I'm a little nervous, but my crimes were possession of methamphetamine, neglecting of a child, and bail jumping. I did have other charges, but they were dismissed but read in upon completion of the TAD program that I did, which is like extra supervision for a year, also with the 2 years of probation. I did 60-day, was sentenced 60 days in jail. I only had to do 26 because they counted my 30 days of inpatient treatment and the time I had previously served. I sat about 8 days and finished the rest on the ankle monitor. Let's see, I did AOD counseling. And I know like I was arrested twice in a 2-week time, but I haven't had any prior offenses prior to that or after that. Let's see, since the completion of my sentence, I have grown, like went back to being a CNA, which I did for 13 years before I was arrested. And then I had, in 2005, I had done the medical assistant program, but I had never worked as one. So I was able to get a job as a medical assistant, and I had a year to get my certification back, which I was able to do. Me and my husband own our house, and yeah, my daughter, it was hard for her through the beginning. Sorry. But she just graduated high school. She's done really well with everything. Trying to sorry. I'm asking for a pardon just for the medical field. It's really hard when you do background checks. And I know like I have been able to go forward with it, but it's always a struggle. And everybody, people look down on you, especially for the child neglect. And then also my stepson is in the military and my grandson, they live in Guam, so traveling would be ideal. And since we live in Wisconsin, in the Northwoods, it would be nice to go hunting with my daughter and my husband, like family. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say.
That's good, Ms. Roberts. We can leave it there and just open up to questions from the board. Board
Okay.
members? Cindy?
Good morning, Ms. Roberts. Couple of things. You report in your application sobriety from drugs since 2015. So do you do anything? Are you involved in AA or NA or anything ongoing, or did that treatment you did initially, was that sufficient in your mind?
Well, so I did the 30 days of treatment and I did learn a lot. Like they really helped me realize like deep down why I, did some of the things I did. And I did do some of the NA meetings, but I had stopped going because my daughter had a very hard time when I would leave her. So I just kind of put everything to her.
Okay. And she wrote you a beautiful letter of support, which I'm sure meant a lot to you. You said she graduated high school. Does she have any interest in going into the medical field like as you did, or?
She isn't sure what she wants to do yet. She actually wanted to go to school for history education, but she is undecided at the moment now. So, but going to college in the fall.
Most 18-year-olds are, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Right. Thank you, Ms. Roberts. That covers it from us. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and next up we have James Comp. Mr. Comp. Right, I don't see Mr. Comp in the Zoom. We will come back to him if he is able to join us. Scott Hambly is next then. Mr. Hambly.
Nope. Hello, good morning, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Scott Hambley, and I'm here asking for a pardon for my felony convictions for delivery and manufacture of cocaine um, that I committed in November of 2002. At the time, I was a teenager and I was making very poor decisions. I was dealing with difficult family circumstances, and instead of addressing those issues in a healthy way, I turned to drugs and surrounded myself with people who encouraged that lifestyle. Those decisions were entirely my responsibility, and I do regret them. I was sentenced in April of 2005 to 2 years of probation and 3 months in county jail. I completed every requirement of my sentence, paid all the fines, court costs, and successfully completed my probation in April of 2007. Um, Even after that conviction, I did continue to struggle with drug use, which resulted in another misdemeanor for THC possession in 2009. Looking back, I realized I had not truly changed my life. I had only completed my sentence. Becoming a father forced me to take an honest look at the path I was on, and I made the decision to completely change my life. And I stopped using all drugs, stopped drinking. I ended relationships with my friends that fueled my addiction, and I built healthier habits, um, like hiking and volunteering instead of doing drugs. So I've been completely sober. Today, I've been sober for more than 15 years. I am 42 years old. I have raised two children and have owned and operated my own computer and low voltage troubleshooting and repair business for over 15 years now. I recently graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee with a bachelor's degree in information science and technology with a 4.0 GPA, and I graduated with high honors. I've also spent more than 7 years volunteering in my local Hartford community by helping with landscape and community improvement projects because I believe in giving back to the place where my family lives. It's kind of nice to have my kids help out too, with the community. I do understand that a pardon is not something anyone is entitled to, and I do accept full responsibility for my past and am not asking for my mistakes to be erased. I'm just asking to be recognized for the person I have become over the past 2 decades. These offenses occurred more than 20 years ago and do not reflect the life I have lived for many years. Receiving a pardon would allow me to move forward without these convictions, continuing to limit employment opportunities, business opportunities, and professional contracts. More importantly, it would mean that the worst decisions I made as a teenager and young adult would no longer define the rest of my life. Thank you for your time and for considering my application.
Thank you, Mr. Hambley. Questions from the board? Cindy.
Good morning, Mr. Hanley.
Morning.
I have a question. I'm a little confused by something. In section 9, when you talk about the crime, you say, when questioned by law enforcement, I was forthcoming, honest, and cooperated with the investigation. I took full responsibility for my actions and took ownership of the mistakes I made. And then it looks like, and this is, of course, you're right, it looks like you went to a jury trial.
That's correct.
So I'm a little confused by you have a right to go to a jury trial, but your statement that initially right away you cooperated and accepted full responsibility. When did you start to accept responsibility for the crimes you committed?
Throughout in the mid process of that, I had like a lawyer I went to like the rehab, and like even though I was going through that, I still struggled with addiction like for years after that. So it was a process.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Judge Kremers.
So in 2010, you were charged with disorderly conduct, domestic abuse. That case was dismissed, but what was that about?
My ex and I had an argument over custody issues, and we were just kind of swearing at each other. And I never got convicted with it, but we were both swearing, and it was like a domestic issue. So they had, charged me with that at first.
What about 2009? Same thing.
Yeah, we had like a huge custody issue that was pretty big that it took a couple of years to sort out.
But that count was dismissed and read in, which means the judge could consider the facts of that case as if they happened in determining an appropriate sentence in the 2009 one.
That's correct.
Okay. And also at that time, you'd had previously in 2004 been charged with felony intimidating a witness. that count was also dismissed but read in, which means the judge could consider the facts of that case. So what were the facts of that case?
So that case was actually connected to the 2002 incident. Um, my friend who told the police that I was doing drugs and gave him drugs that was what that case was. He had told the the police that I was doing drugs and that I gave him drugs. I saw him at the Pike Lake Park down the road, and I was just there. I wasn't actually looking for him. And he walked up to me and he's like, sorry. And like I was mad at him and I said, you know, I'm upset with you. And then I walked away. But because meeting him at the park, I was supposed to leave right away, and I did leave after, but he walked up to me. So they charged me with intimidating a witness because I made contact with him, even though he walked up to me. And that's kind of why they dismissed it.
They read it in though.
Right.
You just dismiss it.
Yeah.
Sure you didn't say something more than I'm not accepting your apology?
Well, I was swearing. I was pretty upset with him. He walked up to me and he apologized, said, I didn't mean to get you in all this trouble. What can I do to help now? And I was like, just, you know, and I was pretty upset with him. So I think then he reported that I was swearing at him. After that, he walked up to me and was saying that, and then I left shortly after that. So
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Great. Thank you, Mr. Hambley. We appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
you too. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up, we have Andrew Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt.
All right, I think I got it good to go.
We can hear you, Mr. Schmidt, and it looks like your video is on, but your screen is black. Do you perhaps have something covering your camera? There we go.
Okay, that good?
Yes.
All right, my name is Andrew Schmidt, and I'm seeking pardon here for manufacturing / delivery of THC that I got arrested for shortly after turning 18. I gave a girl I knew just a small amount of marijuana that I had in a amp from our band. And she ended up telling the police that she got it from me. And since there was no weed, I was charged with, it was like a lot, could have been a lot. So that's why it was manufacturing delivery. I was sentenced to 2 years felony probation, which I eventually completed with one hiccup in between, which led me to do a 9-month drug court, which really helped, having checking in multiple times a week and having good classes like AODA and all of that good stuff. And eventually I completed the probation. And since then, I've basically just been working as hard as I can. I sold cars for quite a while and eventually had a daughter. And that led me to switch to be a union laborer for the insurance for her. And I also bought a house for the stability for her. And I like to coach her soccer team. I've been doing that for the past 5 years or so. And lately I've been helping coach her volleyball team, just running drills and stuff. I guess I would like this pardon because I feel like I'm still serving a penance for this crime I committed 20 years ago. My job it's extremely physically demanding. And 4 years ago, I had to have both my hips replaced. So the work's doable, but I know there's like an end in sight because I'm wearing out my new body parts. So I'd like to just have a better chance to move up in the company or maybe find a different career with a professional license. That's just somehow better my situation in life.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Questions from the board? Eric.
Good morning. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. I want to ask you about a misdemeanor case in 2007. It looks like you were convicted in that case. Do you know which case I'm talking about?
Yeah, the 4th-degree sexual assault thing.
Yeah, without using names of any victims or anything like that, is there anything more you could tell the board about what was going on there?
Well, that stemmed from a girl I met over summer before senior year started who moved to town. I didn't know her very well, but we ended up sleeping together, and then 9 months later, I'm told she had a baby because she didn't go to school. Apparently, she did a homeschooling sort of thing. We lost contact, and then she told me it was my kid, so I accepted. Oh wow, I'm having a kid, or I have a kid, because it was a week after he was born. And then a few years after that, it turned out not to be my kid through the DNA test. So that was kind of rocky for a while.
Okay. And then, so how did this turn into a criminal matter?
Because she was under 16.
Okay. And you were 19 about?
I was 17.
You were 17. Okay.
By the time it all went to trial, I was 19.
Okay.
Or not trial, but whatever sort of negotiation.
And then, as part of the sentence, was there any programming that you completed?
Well, part of the agreement was I went to this counselor who kind of did a deep dive into my mind and told them that I'm not a dangerous, assault type of person. This is just teenagers making mistakes, and me being the older one, we both really paid the price, her with the kid and me with this conviction.
All right. Thank you for your responses.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Judge Grumers.
Well, when you were first speaking to us, you said that things went well except for a hiccup. Was the hiccup the sexual assault charge, or was it the 2010 possession of drug paraphernalia?
Well, I had gotten pulled over and arrested, and that's what led me to the drug court stuff.
You mean the possession of drug paraphernalia?
The drug possession or the paraphernalia happened after that. I didn't even know I had it, and I think that was the thing that was left on after I did the drug court.
Okay.
And they dismissed a bunch of other things because I completed the drug court.
And then 2005, you were convicted of criminal damage to property. What was that?
My friends had stolen something from the school, and I unknowingly drove them around at night, and we were involved with what they'd stolen. So I got in trouble for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Cindy?
Yeah, two things. I want to follow up on my colleague's question. You were 17 at the time of the sexual assault. How old was the girl?
I believe she was 14 at the time.
Okay. My second question, you chose not to submit any letters of support with your application. Can you tell the board why not?
I didn't really have anyone to ask. I mean, I started this new job with CD Smith a year and a half ago, and I'd already submitted the application, or I wasn't as close with the guys. I feel pretty close to this company. I feel like I could ask them now, but it's too late to ask them now.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Schmidt, just one from me. The person that you gave the marijuana to and the charge you're seeking a pardon for also took Robitussin and ended up in the hospital. Was the Robitussin, were you a part of that as well? Or was that something that that person took separately?
She did that all on her own. I had done that once before in my life, and it gave me a terrible reaction. So I knew not to do that.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate your time today, and I hope that you enjoy your weekend.
All right, thank you very much.
Next up, we have Natasha Normand. Ms. Normand.
Yes. Oh, there we go. Good morning. My name is Natasha Normand. I served in the United States Army from 2009 to 2015, including a deployment to Iraq. During these years, following my military service, I struggled with untreated PTSD after experiencing a military sexual trauma. Instead of asking for help, I tried to numb the pain through alcohol and eventually methamphetamine addiction. Between 2015 and 2016, I was convicted of 3 felony possession charges and 2 felony bail jumping charges. Those convictions resulted in probation, incarceration, and ultimately my final arrest in 2017, January of 2017. I take full responsibilities for those crimes. Regardless of the circumstances that led me there, the decisions were mine, and I deeply regret them. My final arrest became a turning point in my life. After serving over 100 days in jail, I admitted myself to the Tomah VA Medical Center, where I completed inpatient treatment for substance abuse, PTSD, and military sexual trauma. I spent a total of 7 months inpatient. Since that day, I have remained sober for over 9 years. Recovery wasn't just about stopping drugs. It meant rebuilding my life from the ground up. I earned 2 technical diplomas, associate in applied science degree, and maintained a 4.0 GPA throughout my education. I maintained steady employment as a diesel technician with Allstate Peterbilt for over 4 years. I became a mother, which changed my life perspective and reinforced the person I wanted to become. I'm also deeply involved with the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association. I found purpose in veterans helping veterans. Last year, I suffered a devastating motorcycle accident that left me with severe injuries and months in recovery. Even through that challenge, I remained sober, continue rebuilding my life, and never returned to the choices that brought me here. Since then, I successfully completed the Certified Peer Specialist training with WIPSE, the Wisconsin Peer Specialist Employment Initiative. My next goal is to become a peer support specialist. I'm grateful to be alive, and I want my life experiences to help others. Today, my life looks completely different than it did 9 years ago because of my values, priorities, and the daily choices are completely different. I understand that a pardon is not something that I am entitled to. I know it cannot erase my past. My convictions are part of my story, and I accept the responsibility for them. What I hope the board sees is that for more than 9 years, I've consecutively demonstrated that those convictions no longer define who I am. I've remained sober, I've maintained employment, I've earned my education, and I've become a mother. I've continued serving my fellow veterans and my community. My actions, not my words, show the woman I have worked very hard to become. A pardon would not erase my past. It would simply recognize the years of rehabilitation that have followed it. It would remove barriers that continue to follow me despite nearly a decade of living responsibly and honorably, allowing me to continue building my future while helping others build theirs. Thank you for your time, your consideration, and the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you, Ms. Normand. Questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Ms. Normand, how do you maintain your sobriety?
I maintain my sobriety. I do PTSD groups and other mindfulness groups. Right now I'm doing a group on Monday and Wednesday at the VA with other fellow veterans. My weekends are spent with veterans, helping veterans, raising funds to help veterans that are in need and other organizations.
Okay. And are you still able to work for Peterbilt after your accident?
I have not, as of March, they had let me go because of my disability. That's when I started my new career path in the certified peer support specialist training. And I'm trying to get into the VA currently to be a peer support. I'm working with the VA to get in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Ms. Norman, you have 5 charges here, which is quite a few, but it seems like they all happened in the course of about 9 months, which is a very short period of time. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, I think that covers it from us. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next up, we have Andrew Meinholz. Mr. Meinholz.
And then mute.
Good morning, members of the Pardon Advisory Board.
Good morning.
My name is Andrew Meinholz, and I appreciate the opportunity to appear before you today. Thank you for taking the time to review my application and consider my request for pardon. In 1996, I made a poor decision, and I take full responsibility for my actions. There's no excuse for what I did, and looking back, I understand that my actions put others at risk and fell short of the standards I hold today. It was a mistake that I regretted for many, many years. Since then, I've worked hard to rebuild my life, defined by responsibility, honesty, and hard work. Over the years, I remained a law-abiding citizen. I'm a business owner, and I understand the importance of integrity, accountability, and setting a good example for my employees, customers, and community. Most importantly, I am a husband and a father. My family has always been my greatest motivation. Responsibility and make good decisions. I have dedicated my life to providing for them and being someone they can be proud of. I'm asking for a pardon because I believe my life since 1996 demonstrates that this convention does not define who I am today. I've accepted my responsibility, served my sentence, and spent nearly 3 decades proving through my actions I have changed. Not asking the board to erase my past. I'm asking for recognition of a person I've become. A pardon would allow me to finally put this chapter behind me and move forward with a clean record, and would mean a great deal to me personally, and would reflect the years I have spent living as a responsible citizen, business owner, and husband and father.
Thank you, Mr. Meinholz. We'll open up to questions from the board. Board members? Reverend Hancock.
Mr. Meinholz, the district attorney in Milwaukee County reviewed your application for a pardon and supports your getting a pardon. Now, Governor Evers will make the final decision, but how does the district attorney's support make you feel?
Very good. It's something that I've been wanting it for a long time.
Good. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Meinholz, just a couple from me. It looks like you have a couple of domestic violence restraining orders, or perhaps just one, but from around 1995, 1996. Can you tell us a little bit about what was happening there?
Yes, that was my divorce. I was married for about 3 weeks, and then that did not work out very well for each one of us. And very young, and it was just a situation where there was really no conflict between me and her. It wasn't even me that went up to the door. It was my brother chasing his dog. I lived across the street from her. So it was just basically, it was not me at all. It was my brother, and then that got cleared up.
Okay, so you had contact when you were not supposed to, basically, through your brother?
No, it was through my wife. My brother looks pretty much just like me, and he was chasing his dog. It wasn't me doing that. And that's what the conflict was.
I see. Okay. Other questions from the board? All right. Thank you, Mr. Meinholz. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up, we have Nicole Carroll. Ms. Carroll.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. First and foremost, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today and for taking time to hear me. In 2008, 2009, I was in a relationship that was abusive, and I had a friend who gave me a key to her house for any time that I needed to escape him. I started using it to get away from him, but eventually started to take advantage of the safe house and started stealing drugs and money from her. She started to notice and reached out to the police, and they arrested me with a charge of breaking in a building or dwelling. I was sentenced to 4 months in Huber with work release and childcare for my daughter. It was a plea deal I had taken that my public defender told me to take. I was scared I'd not be able to be with my daughter, so I took the shortest time away from her. I actually do praise going to Huber, for it woke me up, and I actually call it my rehab because I don't think that I would be sober today if I hadn't gone. I haven't used since, and I started trying to better my life. I am truly sorry for what I had did to her many years ago, and I take full responsibility for my actions and for the impact that they had. I don't make excuses for what I did because I know what I did was wrong. I can honestly say that I am not that person no longer. When I look back at who I was, I feel disappointed and ashamed for the choices I made. Over the last 16 to 17 years, I've worked every day to prove to myself and to my family and everyone around me, especially my 2 kids, that the person that I was then and committed the crime is gone and no longer returning. Since then, I have dedicated my life to being a better person. I work hard. I raise my children, who one is about to go off to college, and seeing her going off to college has made me realize that I want to take my career to the next level. Right now, I'm a one-on-one special ed teacher aide for Sharon Community School, and doing that for the last 8 years. I've decided that I started attending UW Whitewater this past summer to get my degree for an actual special ed teacher. I want to spend my time helping kids and be their voice and help them grow. I'm also a school bus driver for Sharon Community School. I understand trust is earned, and I spent the last 16 years trying to earn it back through my actions every single day. I help after school I'm the forensics coach, and anytime that they need extra help for movie nights or family nights, I tend to try to do my best to help. I'm not asking you to erase my past because I know I can't change what happened. I'm asking for the opportunity to continue to move forward, and pardon would remove barriers that still follow me and hopefully be able to become the special ed teacher that I want to be. It would allow me to continue building the life that I worked so hard to create. And I'm asking for the opportunity to show that I've changed and I'm sober, and I just want to make my kids proud.
Thank you, Ms. Carroll. Questions
Thank
from the
you.
board? Reverend Hancock.
Ms. Carroll, you have very supportive letters from your colleagues at the school. I do have one question, though, about your application. As I understand it, the crime was that a friend of yours had offered you kind of a chance to go to her house when you needed a safe place to be. And while you were doing that, you began to steal cash and jewelry from her. Is that about what happened?
I stole cash and marijuana from her. She claims that I stole jewelry, which I believe it's even in the papers that they did not find any jewelry on me, and I did not steal any jewelry.
Okay, so you there was a ring and some other stuff, jewelry. So you deny that you stole the jewelry.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Ms. Carroll. We appreciate your time with us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. And then our last applicant this morning is Martin Kroll. Mr. Kroll.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We'll try prompting you to turn on your video.
Okay. Co-host, sir. Is Can you see me? Perfect. Well, I wrote some notes, so I'm a little nervous. It's been a while, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Martin Kroll. Thank you for the opportunity of speaking today. My felony was 37 years ago in 1989 when I was age 19. After my parents passed, I was lacking guidance and participated in multiple burglaries in Brown County and Oconto County. Wrong situation, poor choices, and bad judgment. I'm sorry. 1 year later, I served 1 year in jail, 4 years probation, paid full restitution, and have been jail-free since. In 1993, I was convicted of possession of paraphernalia and possession of marijuana, a small, very small amount. In 1997, I met the mother of my 2 boys and started turning my life around. After we split up in 2002, I was a single parent with physical placement of my boys. I was actively engaged in their lives, coaching their sporting events and being with them, bringing them to church and reconnecting with my faith. I joined the Knights of Columbus. I have always worked my jobs at work. I worked 5 years at Packerland Packering, being a butcher. I worked at Milkman for 12 years, being a material handler. I worked at R&R Donnelly for 15 years at being a material handler. I found my passion now, truck driving, as my father was at one time. 2025, I received Truck Driver of the Year from Catch Industries. I am also a security guard at the Green Bay Packers since 2022. I am actively a volunteer with the Knights of Columbus and actually worked at the Poker Days in July 18th. I am praying to get the pardon so I can enjoy interest in my life. I am interested in running for local positions like town supervisor. I would like to be able to hunt with my adult children now and family members. I would like to travel outside the United States, visit Canada, or maybe pull in my heritage. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Morning, Mr. Kroll. You probably heard me ask previous applicants this, but you made the decision not to submit any letters of support with your application. Can you tell us why not?
Yeah, Cindy, I'm still pretty embarrassed of what I've done in my life. You know, I had a hard time even telling my boys about it, why I could not take them hunting and stuff like this. I'm very, very embarrassed of what I've done in my past, but I want to hopefully resolve that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reverend Hancock?
Ms. Kroll, the judge in Oconto County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. Now, Governor Evers will make the final decision, but how does that support make you feel?
It makes me feel overwhelmed because I've served my time, and I've been a very fine community person. I give back to the community. I try to do everything in my power to turn my life around. I own my own house. I'm getting married shortly, so I'm doing everything in my power to do everything to make everything right. And this is the final step, hopefully, to turning it around.
Okay, well, congratulations on getting married. And you have lived in Oconto County your whole life, right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
In the same place too, sir.
Yeah, good. Little Swamco.
Little Swamco, yep, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Kroll. We really appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
You as well. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do one more call for James Comp. Mr. Comp. Do not see him in the Zoom. So that is the end of our morning sessions. And at this point, I'll entertain a motion to move the board into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 sub 1 sub A sub D and sub F for purposes of deliberations concerning specific cases, considering specific applications, and considering financial, medical, social, and or personal histories of specific persons. Do I have a motion? From Judge Kremers, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries, and board members will ask you for just a moment to move folks back to the Zoom waiting room and pause our live stream. Good afternoon. If you're just joining us from the Zoom waiting room, we are going to give everyone a minute to get in and get connected to audio. We'll get our live stream going and we will start just shortly. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mel Barnes. I am Chief Legal to to Governor Tony Evers and the chair of his Pardon Advisory Board. I'm going to introduce my fellow board members, go through just a little bit of housekeeping about how today's hearing will work, and then we will get started hearing from all of you. So with us today, we have board member Cindy O'Donnell, who served as the Deputy Secretary for the Department of Corrections under Governors Thompson, McCallum, and Doyle. She also served as a Division Administrator under Attorneys General Lautenschlager and Van Hollen. We have board member Judge Jeffrey Kremers, who is Attorney General Call's nominee to this board. He served as a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge for 26 years, including as chief judge for 7 of those years before retiring in 2018. We have board member Reverend Jerry Hancock, who is the director of the Prison Ministry Project. He previously served as a public defender, a deputy district attorney, and as an administrator for the Department of Justice's Division of Law Enforcement Services. And we have board member Eric Liberator, who is the Assistant Director of Student Success and an Assistant Teaching Professor at Marquette University Law School. He previously served as a supervising attorney at Disability Rights Wisconsin and in the governor's office. So just a couple notes about how today's hearing will run. First of all, please keep in mind that the hearing is being live streamed via Wisconsin Eye and YouTube. For that reason, we're going to ask you to keep your camera off and yourself muted until it is your turn to be heard by the board. If you do run into any IT issues with Zoom, don't worry, someone from staff will reach out and help you troubleshoot. If it means we need to come back to you because Zoom is not cooperating when it's your turn, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, we're going to call on folks in the order listed in the agenda and open meeting notice, and each applicant will have about 5 minutes total with the board. We're going to ask you to spend the first 3 of those 5 minutes speaking to the questions that we sent you in advance of today's hearing. As a reminder, those are to 1, please give us a brief summary of your offense and how the sentence went. We're not here to retry the crime. You don't need to minimize your involvement. We just want to hear from you in your own words what happened. 2nd, a brief summary of what you've done since the completion of your sentence. Community involvement, employment, essentially how your life is different now than at the time of your offense. 3rd, and finally, a brief statement about why you're seeking a pardon and why you think the governor should grant you one. Once you're done spending 3 minutes on those questions, we'll open it up and see if the board has any follow-up questions for you. Don't read too much into it either way. If we do or don't have questions for you, as you know, your application materials are very in-depth and we've spent a lot of time with those before today's hearing. Once you're done answering any follow-up questions we have for you, you're welcome to sign off and leave the Zoom hearing. And then once everyone's been heard, the board will meet in closed session to decide whether to recommend your application to the governor. You need a majority support of board members present in order for your application to be sent on to Governor Evers, and he will make the final decision about whether or not to grant you a pardon. Either way, you'll be notified about the outcome of today's hearing about 1 to 2 months from today. We know you've been really patient just to get to hearing day, so we thank you for giving us just a little bit more time to get those recommendations to the governor. All right, so with that, we'll get started with our afternoon session. We do have one applicant held over from the morning session, so we will start with Everett Lawrence. Mr. Lawrence?
Yes, how you doing?
Great, how are you, Mr. Lawrence?
I'm doing all right.
You can go right ahead.
Okay, so the first question you asked was about my case, right? That's the first. So yes, back in the days I was young, kind of didn't know where I was going or nothing. And I got caught up with a bunch of guys and we was in the house selling drugs and Blase Skippy. And police came, took me to jail. I admitted to the crime, did my sentence and everything. And that was pretty much it with that, you know. I went on and admitted to that I was wrong. And I told the judge, I'm sorry, this won't happen again. And did the 9 months. No probation or nothing. And then that second one was, what was the second question?
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've done since the completion of your
Okay,
sentence?
ever since
Community
then,
involvement,
so
employment.
yes, my employment. So ever since I did that, I went into the cooking field. I worked my way up from a expediter, from a cook to an expediter. Then I went to a manager, and now I'm a general manager of the store. So I changed my life totally all the way around because I just made a bad choice in my life, and I hate that I did that, knowing that I should have did better. But the choices I made, I accepted that, and I just moved on and worked on make better in myself. Got with a company that promotes within, and they promoted me all the way up to a general manager at Chili's.
Excellent. And Mr. Lawrence, could you just speak briefly to why you're seeking a pardon and how it would change your life?
I'm seeking a pardon because a while back, I was trying to open up a liquor store, and they brought this back up, and I was like, wow. I thought it might have been gone, but it was still there on me, and it kind of threw a bomber on me, but I didn't let it get to me. I kept on, at the time I was still working my way up from a cook to a general manager, and I was trying to figure out something just to get some general wealth for myself. I would like to open my own business. And that was holding me back from doing what I needed to do.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. We'll open up to questions from the board. All right, we'll get started with one or two from me, Mr. Lawrence. At the time that you're charged with this dealing crime, you talked about kind of taking over your friend's business while he was out of town. Were you dealing regularly at this point in your life?
What do you mean by that? Say that again. Say that one more time to me.
Were you dealing drugs regularly at this time in your life?
Well, back when, yeah, that was about 2021, 22, I think that was when I caught that case. Back then, yes.
Sorry, are you referring to how old you were or the year?
Right now, I'm not dealing no drugs.
Sure. When we say 21, 22.
I was 22 years old. I
Got
think
it.
I
Okay.
was when I caught that case. I think it was in 90. I
Mhm.
had to be young then.
Yeah. So what I'm just trying to figure out is, were you dealing drugs regularly and this is the time that you got caught?
Yes, I was. I was at a regular. Yes, I was. I made it. My grandma raised me right. I made a mistake. I got with the wrong guys. I left home and I moved in with some more guys, you know, which I should never, and I regretted that I did that.
Okay. And then fast forward in time to more recent events. Did you collect unemployment at any time between 2020 and now?
I only collected unemployment when COVID came.
Okay. And do you have a unsatisfied unemployment compensation warrant of just under $5,000 that you're still paying back?
No, I don't have no problem. No, I don't have none of that. No, I don't have no. I don't unemployment nothing.
Okay, you weren't asked to pay any funds back.
No.
Okay.
You guys should be probably talking about my son. I think he pays unemployment. He owe unemployment.
Okay. Does your son have the same name as you?
Yes.
Okay, that could be him. We don't have a date of birth in these records, but wanted to ask about it.
Yes, that's got to be my son because I think he pays unemployment about $50 a month or something. I think he does.
Okay.
Yes, that's my son.
That's helpful. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Any other questions from the board? All right. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. That's everything from us. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Oh, that was easy. I was kind of nervous and everything, but okay. Thank
Hopefully
you.
we weren't as scary as you thought.
Yeah, it was, but okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Abdullah Abdul Ghani. Mr. Abdul Ghani.
Can you see me and hear me?
We can perfectly. Thank you.
How's everyone doing today?
Great.
Okay, my conviction was for an armed robbery that was committed in April of 2014. I was 18 years old at the time. I got sentenced later that year in December to 5 years in prison, 2.5 years confinement, and 2.5 years of extended supervision. I understand the crime was unacceptable and unjustified. It's something I really regret. I never called it a mistake because I know that it was a choice and it was a bad choice. I was a first-year student at UW-Milwaukee. I was struggling socially, academically. I ended up getting associated with some bad influences about a year before, so my last year of high school, and my priorities basically just went down the drain. I wasn't focusing on college or work. I didn't really care about friendships or improving myself. I started spending time in places I wasn't familiar with and meeting people I wasn't comfortable with, and that led to me being held up at gunpoint. And I got scared and angry, and I had a desire for revenge. I didn't really know how to proceed. I chose not to call the cops. I was basically stuck in an environment where violence felt normalized. I kept the situation to myself, and it basically spiraled into an idea for me to commit a robbery against the people who set me up to be robbed. I felt like it was justified, but I understand how deeply wrong that logic is. A robbery or any crime can never be justified. Two wrongs did not make it right. Being a victim of a crime didn't excuse me to commit that same crime to against someone else. I did act alone. I never told anyone about my plans. I set up a meeting with them. I pulled out a gun and I told them they were being robbed. I took off, and that's when shots went off. And one of the people that was in the robbery shot me twice. That was the first moment that I realized how severely grave my actions were, and the path that I was on would only lead to more trouble for me. And it was extremely important for me to change my life, even though it would be difficult. Like I said, I was in college. I didn't get to finish, but when I got to the incarceration, I was one of the jobs I had was a tutor when I was in minimum security. I was helping other inmates with English and math to help them earn a GED. I spent time preparing myself for different career opportunities, trying to understand what options we had. I did finish the earned release program at Black River Correctional Center. That was an amazing program. It taught me discipline, responsibility, and most importantly, the importance of a drug-free life, while also giving me an early release 11 months early. I was extremely grateful for that. After getting out, I did, right away, I went to WRTP Big Step, if anyone's familiar. I got some hands-on training with some trade professionals. I did also get my Class B CDL permit. Shortly after I decided that I wanted to go to Milwaukee Area Technical College, I enrolled in the information security program, and I did earn my associate's degree. And I've actually been self-employed full-time. Right now, I currently work as a vulnerability researcher. I test commercial and enterprise software along with open source software as well. That's been my full-time career since graduation in 2020. I've also started investing in real estate in Milwaukee County. I did buy a property in South Milwaukee. I want to continue buying more property and investing in the city. My cybersecurity career has been successful and rewarding. It's challenging, but it is exciting. I'm also preparing myself for certification. I'm doing some training courses, and I'm hoping to move into a corporate job. That's where it can be a little bit tricky because some of them have, depending on the industry, licensing or certification requirements that my background would conflict with. So getting a pardon would open up the path to new jobs for me within my field and give me a chance to earn more experience and knowledge. I did also get married last year. I'm planning to start a family now. I do provide for my mother. I have a really strong support system. My family, from the very beginning, even when I initially got sentenced and I had no clue where I would end up, they've supported me. It's been 10 years since I got convicted. I haven't had any other crimes. I'm no longer the irresponsible teenager who was acting on impulses. I realized there are a lot more important things in life, having a stable career, having a family, having kids. I want to be a good role model for my family and others in the community who might find themselves in a similar situation. I hope I can get a pardon because I've proven that I'm a changed person. I stayed out of trouble. I turned my life around. The pardon would remove barriers mainly in terms of career for me, for security clearances or licenses, mainly in finance or government. Basically, that would let me contribute more, maybe be in a position to mentor people who are either in this career or in a position of incarceration and getting ready to reintegrate into society.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Ghani. We'll open up to questions from the board. Reverend Hancock.
Okay. A couple of questions about the crime. Were you living at home when the crime happened?
Yes.
Okay. And is that where you kept the .40 caliber Glock semi-automatic pistol?
Yes, I was living with my mother at the time.
Okay. And did you take that pistol to other drug deals that you were involved in?
No, after I was robbed, I had the plan of robbing someone, and that's when I decided to take it with me.
But you had it before then?
Yes, I owned it. I kept it at my house. I was not involved with any other violent drug deals before that.
Okay, so why did you feel you needed to keep a .40 caliber Glock at your mother's house if you weren't using it in drug deals?
I just had a firearm I owned at the time. It was not related to anything with drug dealing or violence. It was more of a situation where I just wanted to have a firearm for self-defense.
Okay. But you took it to this drug deal because you were looking for revenge.
Yes, after I was held up.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Eric?
Good afternoon. I noticed that you have some things in your traffic record a little bit more recently. None of these are criminal offenses. But one of the tickets that I did want to ask you about, if you could provide any more information, in 2024, it looks like it was for reckless driving and dangerous safety.
Yes, that was a couple months after I bought a new vehicle. I'll be honest, I was a little too excited. I got carried away. I was driving a little erratically. I really shouldn't have, but I got pulled over. I apologized to the officer. I paid my ticket. That was the end of it. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't hurt myself. And I realized that you gotta drive much more controlled on the streets.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Abdul Ghani, just one from me. Do you own any firearms now?
No, I don't. I have not owned any firearms since the police seized the one that happened during the crime.
Okay, thank you. And then just one other note, one of the reasons that you listed in your application for why you're seeking a pardon is to be able to vote. So I just wanted to note for you that in Wisconsin, you are generally able to vote as a convicted felon once you're off paper, so you finish probation or parole. So regardless of the outcome of today's hearing, I would encourage you to look into that because you're likely eligible to vote either way in Wisconsin.
Okay, yeah, I misunderstood how the civil rights restoration worked, and I saw after that was automatic after the extended supervision.
Yeah, and that's something we see very frequently in applications. So I'd like to bring it up not just for you, but for anyone who might be watching on Wisconsin Eye, so that folks are aware of that. All right, well, that covers our questions. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tiara Macklin. Ms. Macklin?
Good afternoon. Hello, so my name is Tiara Macklin, and I want to say for starters that I appreciate you guys for having me. I was really excited to get the email, to get the invite for today. Just to jump right into it, the first question was about the case. So back in 2018, I want to say a little bit after graduation, myself and two other females that I went to high school with actually came up with a plan to to rob the bank that one of the women had worked at. One of the girls, she worked there. One person went in, and then I drove one of the young ladies there. At the time, I was young and out of tune with reality. Really wasn't thinking about consequences or being held accountable for anything. I did grow up in a single parent household. So at the time, I was moving fast, wanted fast money, and just wasn't thinking. Basically, no excuse for it or anything like that. However, I did get sentenced to 15 months, 4 years of extended supervision. I did complete the ERP program and I was released early. During the ERP program, I did learn a lot of life skills that I still utilize in my everyday life today. Since 2017, I have become a business owner. The business that I am at now, I do rent out 10 suites to other entrepreneurs as well. They do hair, they do nails, they offer other services as well. And I teach them how to lead and operate their businesses. I host workshops where I teach teach other people how to become entrepreneurs. I have obtained my CBRF and my CBRF certificates, as well as I've become a lead teacher where I have experience with working in childcare, as well as I've traveled and spoken at women events. Other people have came into town and hosted events where I can also share my story. While I feel that I should be granted this pardon because I'm not the same person that I was at 18 years old, I have grown to be a better woman. I feel that I am the person that that same little girl would look up to from 18 years old. Getting the pardon granted, I feel that it will boost my confidence more as a woman because for my whole adult life, I have been a felon. I have not been able to obtain a housing that I would like to obtain for my comfort zone due to me being a felon. I would like to become a notary and actually an agent, a real estate agent, so I can become an investor as well. I want to obtain my childcare license also so I could get into the community and just show people that there is different things to do versus to choosing a fast lane and doing things that's not right. I was denied the application to become a childcare provider due to me having this felony. I want to show my family that I can be a great role model, just really get into the community, give back, show people that there are awards for living a righteous kind of life. Yeah, that kind of sums it up.
Thank you, Ms. Macklin. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Good afternoon, Ms. Macklin. I want to talk a little bit about the crime. Can you talk at all about the impact that crime had on the victims, the employees at the bank, and how that might have rippled into their lives?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't go in. However, I'm pretty sure that it was traumatic. It was a very scary situation for them to experience, not knowing what really was going on. I'm pretty sure to this day they may still carry that along with them as well.
And in my understanding, your involvement, you helped two others plan it, and then you drove. Is that right?
However, the young lady that worked at the bank, she planned it.
Okay, but you were involved in planning how you would get there that day and who
Yes,
would do what? I mean,
I did.
that sense.
I did drive, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And $100,000 was stolen from
Yes.
the bank that day. And with that money, you bought a car and went on a shopping spree, I think is what you told
Yes, ma'am.
the time? Okay. It looks like there's it looks like also in 2016 you had a misdemeanor carrying a concealed weapon. Can you
You know what? That was like Mace.
That was Mace.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And good morning. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. You're running a business.
Yeah, it was just like, you know what? At that time, I can't remember how old I was, and it was like from dealing with like unhealthy relationships and wanting to protect myself, it was one of those kind of things. So I wasn't even aware that you needed to carry a license to have something like that. So I think in my mind, I minimized how serious it was. So yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then it looks like 2020 you had reckless driving, endangering safety, and 2021 speeding. They're not criminal, but
Yes, ma'am. And you know what? I did go on and I looked at a couple of these hearings and everything. So that's what made me CCAP myself. And I wasn't even aware that it was in the system as worded like that. However, for the first one that you mentioned for the reckless driving thing, what it was it was raining outside that morning. So it wasn't like a confrontation or anything like that. It was raining and I was coming around the exit. So I was coming around the exit a little fast, and by the time I seen what was going on, because I couldn't see the cars before I came around the bend, but it was like a pile up. So my car hit one car and I pushed that car into a couple other cars. So by the grace of God, nobody was harmed or anything like that. So that's what it was. I was speeding and it was raining outside.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Reverend Hancock.
Two questions. There's a money judgment from 2022 for $45,000. Is that part of the accident? What's it all about?
You know what? Is that like with the I think that's like with a bank or something like that, and I'm really not sure what that is because that wasn't from an accident.
Okay, so do you know why somebody sued you for $45,000?
You know what? I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I haven't got in contact with anybody, but like I just told the previous board member that I'm just really seeing a lot of things that are reflecting on there because I haven't got in trouble or anything like that. The main reason why I was aware of CCAP is because of the case that we're sitting here on today.
Okay, and the district attorney in Milwaukee County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. Now, the final decision is up to Governor Evers, but how does the support of the district attorney make you feel?
That make me feel great. Makes me feel very appreciative, and I'm grateful to even be here today and experience all of this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, and Ms. Macklin, that case that Reverend Hancock was just referring to, the money judgment, it appears it's with a credit union, so I'm guessing it is a loan. It could be related to your business, but just in case you want to look into that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna go back online and I'll get that information and everything because I did plan to get in contact with them. So I do appreciate you giving me that information.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, we appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy your weekend.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tiffany Holland. Ms. Holland?
Okay. Hi. I think that's right. Okay. I'm Tiffany Holland. I'm here for a case from 2006, which was a misappropriation ID party to a crime, which the incident took place at Guarantee Bank, which I was the driver because that's how they got the case started. But my name was listed on the bank account, which was a checking account being opened by someone else, but my name was listed as a primary user. After the bank notified the police had my license plates, and that's how they found me. They questioned me in Whitefish Bay, I think it was, or Glendale, and asked me about the bank account, which I didn't know too much of it because I was just listed, never made any transactions on the account or anything. But because I was on there, it was a party to a crime, and I got the same sentence and the same everything with the other party, which was 2 years of probation. I had 12 months of house of correction, but I was released for work release and civil care. Since then, I've moved a couple of states a couple of times. At the time, I had nothing going on. I didn't have a care in the world. I was just irresponsible, and no one to blame but me. That was all on me. After my sentence, I had to complete anger management and a few other classes, which I did. After that, which I think was 2013 or 14, I completed a CBRF in healthcare. After seeing that I couldn't do anything with it after that, I went on to get my CDLs, which even though it was a felony, the bus company did hire me and I was able to get that. Since then, I've got my guard card, but I want to take it more than just a level 2, but with the felony on my record, I can't. I've volunteered for a couple of places here in Texas, not knowing that it was against the law to help homeless. Kind of not did too much in the community since then. I'm asking for a pardon to kind of change I can't say my situation is bad or any of that because I've come a long way, but to increase the level of security at with my guard card. I really want to open up a business, but with the felony, it is hard. Going back to school is hard with the felony on my record.
Thank you, Ms. Holland.
You're
We'll open up to questions from the board. Board members? Cindy?
Yep. Good afternoon, Ms. Holland.
Afternoon.
One of the other people involved was your niece, is that correct? Or
Yes.
someone she referred
She
to
was
as
my niece.
your niece, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in the criminal complaint, at the time, she said that you encouraged her to open the account in the other victim's name so that you could write bad checks on it, and that it was never her intent to commit fraud, that it was your idea. How do you respond to that?
Well, I didn't give her the ID. I had suggested it like when neither one of us was working or anything. So it was just a summer doing nothing, having nothing, no goals or anything. But encouraging her, it was my idea, but we all have choices. But I didn't have the ID to give to her, but I did had encouraged to her to, well, not encourage her, but I had spoke it up.
You had what? I'm sorry.
I had brought it up for her for us to do it,
Okay.
but encouraging or forcing, no.
And you drove her to the bank?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock?
Ms. Holland, the district attorney in Milwaukee County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. Now, Governor Evers will make the final decision, but how does that support make you feel?
It makes me feel exciting. I did receive that letter in the mail, and when I opened it and seen what it was, I was grateful because it's not nothing to take lightly. But yeah, I was grateful and appreciative about it.
Good. Thank you.
And Ms. Holland, just a question for me. It looks like in 2009, there was a harassment restraining order granted against you. Could you tell us about what happened there?
Okay, that was a current boyfriend and ex-boyfriend situation. The ex-boyfriend didn't know the current boyfriend's information or name, but I was pulled into it because I was the middle person between the two. Um, I went to court, like the judge had said, that he didn't have any reason to grant it other than for me saying that it was okay for it to be granted. Just to keep everything down, I granted it the restraining order, but it wasn't me personally.
So this is an ex-boyfriend who got a restraining order against you, is that right?
Yes, that's what that was.
But not because of a physical.
Anything I did, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Judge Cremers.
Good morning, good afternoon, ma'am. It looks like you have a series of small claim actions against you in 2012, 15, 17, 19. Is that correct? Do you know anything about?
I just know about two. I'm not sure the year of those, but the two that I do have, they were loans. But when at the time I wasn't working. But when I reached out, the two places had already sent them to collections, which went from one collection to another. And by 2019, when I left, I never looked back into it. But I only know about two, but I'm not sure of what year they were.
And what were they for?
I think there were loans that was defaulted.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Holland. That covers it from us. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
You too. I appreciate you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Kenneth Dupree. Mr. Dupree.
Hello.
We can hear you, Mr. Dupree.
Hi, how you doing?
Great, how are you?
Okay.
Can you tilt your camera a little bit for us? We can only kind of see the top half of your face. There we go.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Dupree. This is my second time appearing in front of the board. I appeared on August 2001 and was denied on September 2021. I was convicted of racketeering, conspiracy to manufacturing and delivering THC and manufacturing and deliver of cocaine. I got involved in this action from borrowing money from a person I thought I knew who was a longtime friend of the family. I struggled to provide for my family and asked if I could borrow money to provide for my family, in which he did. I was not able to pay it back. I was asked to do some runs. I take full responsibility for my action and is very remorseful for committing this crime. Sending me to prison was positive. It saved my life and made me a better person I am today. Since my release from prison, I successfully completed supervision. I volunteer at local schools mentoring youth. I also volunteer at the Friendship Club, which is a drug rehabilitation program. I volunteer at local churches working in their food pantries. I have not been involved in any criminal activity. I am remorseful and is seeking a pardon so that I can find better housing and be in schools to mentor youth. My past does not define who I am. I every day to be a positive and reliable member of my community. I thank the board, governor, and response for all your time.
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Yep. Good afternoon, Mr. Dupree. Are you currently employed?
No, I'm not. I do work for my cousin. He owned properties, and I do handyman work for him. He owned 4 properties.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm disabled right now. And I have health issues.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock?
Mr. Dupree, you got involved in this partly to support your kids. How are your kids doing these days?
My daughter is a manager at her company, and my grandkids are doing fine. My son just got locked up. It has nothing to do with me. He's grown, he won't listen, and he got caught up in the system.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Mr. Dupree. That's everything from us. Appreciate your time today, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Rachel Christensen. Ms. Christensen?
Good morning, or afternoon now.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, and thank you for taking time for allowing the opportunity to speak today. I'm Rachel Christensen. In 2012, I was convicted of robbery party to a crime. I was sentenced to 8 months of confinement and followed by 2 years of extended supervision, which I've completed successfully without any violations. I take full responsibility for my role for this offense. Looking back now, I recognize that my actions contributed to an event that caused fear, harm, and lasting consequences for another person. That is something that I deeply regret at this time. At that time, I was a young adult who had poor decision making and surrounded myself with people who encouraged those choices. Those circumstances do not excuse my actions. I am sincerely sorry for the role that I played and the impact that it had on the victim. If I could take it back today, I would. Unfortunately, I can't. The only thing I can do is live my life in a way that reflects the lessons I have learned and honors the opportunity I was given to move forward. One of the most important lessons I've learned in that every decision has consequences, that I am responsible for the choices that I make, regardless of who I am with. Since then, I've been intentional about my surroundings and who I surround myself with only positive influences by living my life that reflects honesty, responsibility, and integrity. Since completing my sentence, I have remained employed and worked hard to build a stable life. When I first was released, I found a job at McDonald's. And then not too long after that, I started a 8-year career at a brake factory. And during COVID, I became a mother and had a couple of temporary jobs, but I'm currently employed with the state of Wisconsin as a claim specialist for unemployment. I've also received some milestones that I'm proud of. I became a homeowner. I became a mother since then. Most importantly, in more than 14 years that's since my conviction, I have not been charged with any other crime. My goal every day is to provide a stable, positive future for my family and to continue contributing to my community through my work. I am respectfully asking for a pardon because my conviction continues to limit my opportunities for advancement. Many positions within the state and elsewhere do require certain background checks that automatically disqualify me because of my felony conviction. I believe I have demonstrated through more than 14 years of lawful, productive living that I've earned the opportunity to be evaluated based on the person I am today rather than the mistake I made in 2012. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Christensen. Questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
The judge in Milwaukee County who reviewed your application for a pardon supports your getting a pardon. Now, Governor Evers will make the final decision, but how does the judge's support make you feel?
That opening that letter was really exciting to see that. It isn't the same judge that I had back then. Everyone in the case is no longer there. So whoever reviewed my case, did go feel how they felt. And I liked that. It made me excited.
Thank you.
One question for me, Ms. Christensen. You mentioned that after you were released, you got a job at McDonald's. Is that right?
Yes.
I'm curious, they must have seen your record, but did you have a conversation with them about the circumstances of your crime when you started working there?
I did. I lived with my mom. I didn't have a car, so I had to look at places that was close. I did get turned down from a couple places, but they were fine.
I'm just really curious. That must have been a challenging conversation to have with them, given that your crime was at work. So how did you build that trust with them, and how long did you work there?
I'm not sure how I managed that. I don't know if it was just maybe, some companies do hire felons, some don't. I actually did apply at the Subway in the area, and I told them about that, so they did not hire me. But I was there for, I think, less than a year. I started my job, I believe, in 2013 at the Brake Factory, 2014. So I was there for about a year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Great, thank you, Ms. Christensen. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Ryan Swalheem. Mr. Swalheem.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you see me?
Hear you. We don't have your video quite yet.
There we go.
There we are.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here. So the reason I'm here is 1994. I was party to a crime of burglary. I was mixed up with some older kids, and we had the good idea. They had robbed their Hardee's a year before, and at 18, it sounded like a good idea, which it wasn't. So we collaborated, and I gave them the key and combination of the safe, and they broke in, made it look like a break-in, and stole all the money out of the safe. I was a manager at that time, still in high school. After that, I continued to get in trouble, got my probation extended till I was 24. Thought I got my life back together, and then my early 30s, I came home to a friend of mine who her boyfriend beat her up really bad. So I got mad and went to have a talk with him, and I got a DUI out of that. My last bout with any sort of law was a BUI, boating under the influence. I bought a new boat. It was Rhythm and Booms. There's some people on the boat. I was really tired, so I did some cocaine and got pulled over, and it was in my pocket, so I got a possession charge. Currently, I own 3 businesses, Ryan's Renovations, Richard Builders, and Swalheim Enterprises. I work a lot. I employ 15 people full-time. The reason I'm requesting a pardon is one, it's embarrassing to be a felon. 2, I'd like to get my realtor's license. My Swalheim Enterprises venture is going to be, I have 3 spec lots that I just purchased. So I'd like to be able to buy and sell my own real estate. And I know that for a fact I've lost at least one 6-figure remodeling job due to my record. So I'd like to hopefully get the felony pardoned.
Thank you, Mr. Swalheim. Questions from the board? Eric.
Good afternoon. Thank you for telling us a little bit about the 2018 case. I did want to ask, was there any treatment or formal programming that you did after that?
No, I had an assessment, and they didn't require any. They didn't think I needed
Okay.
to do anything else.
And then in your application, you mentioned that you completed anger management. I'm assuming that might have been in connection with the other case you talked about. Could you just tell me what you learned from doing that?
Oh, sorry. That was from, like I said, I didn't get off probation until I was 24 because I kept getting in fights and just stupid stuff. I did anger management 3 times, and the last time I was like, I got to make some changes here. And so I actually took it seriously, and I learned quite a bit from that.
All right. Thank you.
Cindy?
Good afternoon, sir. I want to go back to the original crime for which you're seeking a pardon. So you worked at the McDonald's. Your 2 co-defendants did not. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And according to the criminal complaint, when police interviewed you soon after, you told them that the other 2 wanted to rob the restaurant, and you agreed to assist them because you wanted to get into the drug dealing business with them, and they needed money to buy drugs.
We thought we were going to sell weed.
Okay. And then you, after business hours, you let them case the restaurant. You showed them the premises, the location of the safe. You gave them the combination or the keys. Right. I mean, they couldn't have done this without you.
Correct.
Right. And then in your here today, and then in your statement, you talk about they were older and 2 men talk. In your statement, you say, your application, you say 2 men talked me into leaving the keys to a safe. You were 18 at the time. The other 2 co-defendants, one was 20 and one was 21. So you're all sort of the same age group, right?
Yeah. When you're 18, a 21-year-old at that time was an older person, at least to me.
Well, sure. I mean, they're older,
But yeah, we were similar age, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
You were still in high school when this happened?
Correct.
Where did you go to high school?
Monona Grove.
Okay, and this happened at the McDonald's on Monona Drive?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Mr. Smallham, just a question for me. You talked about the boating incident, but I don't think you talked about this 2005 disorderly conduct. Can you tell us what happened there?
Disorderly conduct. Was that the one I got the DUI on when I went to talk to my friends?
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, I got a DUI, and then she told me how to get in the house, and I broke the door, and then we both got arrested, and there were some other charges, but they were dropped. But I got the DUI and I got some disorderly conduct, and then I replaced her door for.
Okay, so that's one incident.
Right.
Okay, understood. And then my last question for you, you talked about the businesses that you own and the fact that you employ 15 people full time. And I'm just curious, does anyone on your team have a felony record? Does your experience make you look at that differently when you're screening employees?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, one of them does. And I don't let the record stop me from calling them for an interview. I believe in giving people second chances. In my case, I've gotten multiple chances. And so I appreciate that. And I try to pass it on and help other people. It also burns me sometimes, but such is life.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you acknowledging that.
Yep.
Anything else from the board? Great. Thank you, Mr. Swellheim. I appreciate your time today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Ashley Anderson. Ms. Anderson.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Ashley Anderson, and I am here to seek a pardon for a controlled substance charge. Unfortunately, this wasn't my only contact with law enforcement. As you've read in my application, I've been a repeat offender. I'm not proud of this, and to be honest, it's really hard for me to believe that I used to be that person. I work every day to try to be so much different than what I used to be like. I'm going to start kind of from the beginning where my addiction started, because I think it'll help explain kind of how I got to the point that I'm at now. When I was a teenager, I started drinking. I never really felt like I fit in, and alcohol gave me that confidence. And then I started smoking marijuana, and I was involved in a house raid, and that was my first arrest. I was put on probation. I stopped smoking, but I continued to drink. When I was 19, my father was killed in a motorcycle accident. I was very unwilling to cope and deal with my feelings, which led to harder drug use. I spiraled down a path of destruction that included several arrests and trips to rehab. At that point, I really didn't have a desire to do better. I did have small periods of sobriety over the years. One of them being when I got pregnant with my daughter and gave birth to her. I stayed sober for a little over a year, but eventually went back to my old ways. My addiction was so strong that nothing could make me stop. In August of 2017, I was arrested for retail theft in Wisconsin. I'm from Illinois, by the way. So I got arrested. They searched the vehicle and they found paraphernalia and heroin in the vehicle. They released me and I came back to Illinois. On December 10th of 2017, I was miserable. I had hit my bottom. I reached out to some women that I had known from AA, and I sincerely asked them for help. They helped me get into treatment, and this was my last trip to treatment. In 2018, I don't remember what month, I was picked up on a warrant for this case. I didn't know about the warrant until I was picked up on it. So I drove to Wisconsin, or I didn't drive, I was given rides to Wisconsin to get this case settled. I pled guilty to this felony charge and they dismissed the retail theft misdemeanors. With that, I was able to get my probation transferred to Illinois, and I didn't have to worry about finding rides 4 hours up north to Wisconsin. So it worked for me at the time, but I do have this case that follows me today. So what I did to change over the last years is I went to inpatient treatment, and then I completed outpatient treatment. I worked through the 12 steps, which included admitting my wrongs, facing the feelings that I had buried, and making amends to the ones that I have hurt. Since I've been sober, I have dealt with losing loved ones. I've lost my grandparents and my stepdad, and I dealt with those feelings, which is what caused me to do these actions to begin with. To my mom and daughter, I'm making living amends daily. Today my mom doesn't have sleepless nights because she's worried about my well-being. She can depend on me, and she knows that I'm here when she needs me. My daughter, she looks up to me and she asks for advice, and that's absolutely amazing. I've accomplished many goals, and I've built a life that I truly enjoy. My daughter came home to live with me in 2020, and I purchased my first home, and shortly after married my husband. My support group is small, but with them, I know that I do have everything that I need. I've maintained consistent employment and have been at my current job for 5 years. This kind of brings me to the why. I'm seeking this pardon so that I can better my career. I'm currently the bookkeeper, and in this line of business, we submit notarized pay applications and waivers, and my boss has asked me to become a notary. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to fulfill this request due to being a convicted felon. The other part is that my husband and daughter both hunt. So I'm unable to participate in those activities. They're unable to keep the guns stored at the house. So it kind of creates an inconvenience for them. If I was granted this pardon, it wouldn't only benefit me, but also my family and my work as well. I know the judge isn't supportive in my case, which was discouraging when I read it, but I come here today a completely different person that I was at the time of the arrest. And I really hope that you guys can consider the changes that I've made. I will continue to change and be a better person no matter what happens today. And I am beyond grateful for the life that I have built. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. We'll open up to questions from the board. Cindy?
Yep. Ms. Anderson, the judge actually does support your application.
They did?
Yes.
Oh.
That's how I read it. Madam Chair, have I got this right?
That is what my notes reflect as
Okay.
well. I was just seeing if I could double check that
Yeah,
while you're speaking,
yeah.
Ms. Anderson, because I was
Yeah.
surprised to hear you say that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, the judge wrote, Ms. Anderson appears to have lived a pro-social life. Granting her request will not harm the community.
Oh.
So they actually support it. But I
Oh,
just want
I did not get that. Okay. Well, that's good. Thank you.
just wanted to clarify before I ask my question, which is, as part of the application process, applicants are asked to submit letters of support for their application, and you chose not to submit any. Can you tell the board why not?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. I caused a lot of havoc in my past, and I was the one responsible for those decisions, and so I didn't want to bother anybody with it.
Well, I just say for the benefit of others who are watching too, it's very helpful because you're appearing before us. You want us to see who you are today. And the people who know best how you've changed are the people who maybe you impacted negatively in the past. And those letters are very powerful, sometimes from family members, neighbors, whoever. And so they're very helpful to the board to get those. Thank you.
I understand.
Other questions from the board? Judge Carmers.
Good afternoon, Ms. Anderson. It looks like there are a number of unsatisfied small claims amounts from Wood and Shawano and Manitowoc counties. Are you familiar with these?
In Wisconsin?
Yes.
No, I'm not familiar.
How long have you lived? You live in Illinois right now, right? How long have you lived in Illinois?
Pretty much all my life. So I was only in Wisconsin for maybe 6 months in 2017.
Were you ever up in Wood County in the 2008, 2012?
No. Nope.
Okay.
I had never been to Wisconsin until 2017.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Reverend Hancock.
Are you still active in AA?
I am not anymore. I quit attending meetings roughly around when COVID hit in 2020. That I had a lot going on. My stepdad was diagnosed with cancer. My daughter was coming home, and I ended up, I'm friends with some people that are still involved in AA, but I don't go to meetings anymore.
So how do you maintain your sobriety?
Well, I stay busy with my daughter, with work. I have a family. And honestly, I don't even think about the alcohol and drugs anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Ms. Anderson. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tao Lohr. Mr. Lohr.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. My name is Tu Lohr. Thank you for taking the time and opportunity to hear my pardon statement. The offense that was charged is prior to a crime of armed robbery and false imprisonment when I was 16 years old back in 1991. 3 youths and I were at a park. One of the boys had a gun, and we started talking about what we could do with the gun. I don't know how the idea came to use the gun for a robbery. A laundromat was next to the park, so we just walked up to the laundromat. I covered my face in my shirt, and we walked in. The clerk Tina was the only person in the laundromat at the time. One of the boys told her to open the cash register and money was taken. The boy with the gun told the clerk to take him to her car. We walked her outside, but she didn't have her keys, so we brought her back inside the laundromat. Some customers walked in and saw us and left. One of the boys took the clerk to another room. I was scared and I left. During court, I was waived as an adult. My sentence was 4 years in prison and 4 years probation. I served 18 months and then finished my probation. I've paid all my restitution. Also, while in prison, I earned my HSED and I got my driver's license. Since my release, I've earned my ICAR certification for auto body painting. I've also attended MATC for a year for my associates, but I did not graduate because I could not afford it. I've continued working in the auto body painting industry for many years. I also worked in cleaning and restoration. Now I'm currently working as a painter for a sign company. I have been married to my wife for 23 years and we have 4 beautiful daughters, ages 23, 22, 18, and a 10-year-old. My 2 oldest daughters recently graduated with bachelor's degrees from UWGB in psychology, marketing, and humanities. My 18-year-old daughter just graduated from high school and is currently working. My 10-year-old daughter has just graduated 5th grade. She loves drawing, music, and spending time with family. Since having my kids, I've been the main caretaker for my daughters while my wife worked and went to college. I've helped my family and neighbors with various things such as car repairs, shoveling snow, and house repairs. I also helped pick up garbage for the Hmong Festival celebration. I believe that I should receive a pardon because this crime happened 35 years ago. I just turned 16 years old. I have not gotten into any trouble with the law and have not committed any crimes. This will help with my deportation case and possibly get my green card back. My brother, my dad, and I came to the United States as refugees in 1980 when I was 5 years old because my dad was a lieutenant who fought along with the U.S. during the Vietnam War. This part could help me advance with my current job and help me to apply for other job opportunities. I am deeply sorry that I hurt Tina, all the victims, and the community. I know what I did was wrong. It must have been terrifying. I was young and I should have thought more about it before I committed this horrible crime. At that time, I was a good student in high school. I was on the wrestling team and I played the cello. I understand the fear and the hurt that I caused back then. I sincerely apologize for my actions and I hold myself accountable. Today, I am a loving father, hard-working husband, a brother, uncle, and I care about my community. If I were granted this pardon, I know that I can continue to make positive impacts to my family, friends, community. Thank you so much for the time and for hearing my pardon request.
Thank you, Mr. Lohr. We'll open it up to questions from the board. Reverend Hancock?
Mr. Lohr, as part of your application, your wife and daughters submitted really beautiful applications, letters in your support. How did those letters make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel great. I mean, I love them so much, and they're my world. You know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Other questions from the board? Mr. Lohr, just one for me. It looks like you were ordered to pay restitution, or all of you who were involved were ordered to pay it jointly and separately. Do you have an idea of how much restitution you paid?
I think it was like $1,400.
Okay. And so that's the total amount. Is that what you paid?
Yes, that's what I paid.
Paid all of it. Okay. Thank you. All right, Mr. Lohr, that covers it from us. We appreciate your time today and hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Next up, we have Deborah Willing. Ms. Willing?
Hello?
Hello. Ms. Willing, is that you?
It is me. I can't, can you see me? Oh, hold
Yeah.
on. Here we go.
Okay,
Okay.
there we go.
Okay, thank you. My name is Deborah Willing. In 2002, I was convicted of theft from my employer. Driven by an overwhelming financial desperation, I was struggling to pay for 12 maxed out credit cards. Drowning in debt and seeing no way out, I allowed my panic to cloud my judgment, and I made a poor choice I deeply regret. Since that time, I have taken full responsibility for my actions. I was sentenced to 6 months confinement, in which I only served 4 with early release, 3 years of probation, which I had only had to serve 15 months before early release, and I paid restitution in full. Since my conviction, my first order of business was to clear up my debt and learn to live within my means. This took a few years, but the hard work paid off. I'm sorry. I am currently employed at a bar in the community where I grew up, and I have been there for 14 years. We are very community focused. I am involved with events such as a tractor drive ride, which raises money for people in need. We have done benefits for community members in need and who are struggling. We have annual car shows. I've done tractor pulls and an annual golf outing. I am requesting a pardon at this time to ensure my ability to maintain my employment. I have held a bartender's license since 2008, but in 2024, my license was not going to be renewed due to my conviction. After a plea to our village board, it was granted, and at that time we spoke of getting a pardon. I do not want this huge mistake I made 25 years ago to define me, and I do not want to have to wonder every license renewal if this will be the end of my employment at a career I love and at the establishment I have dedicated 14 years to. Thank you for this opportunity and letting me talk today.
Thank you, Ms. Willing. Questions from the board? Cindy?
Yep. Good afternoon, Ms. Willing. It looks from the court record that restitution was set at the amount of $10,232, and then it says defendant paid victim directly in court.
Yes.
How did you come up with that amount of money to pay?
Well, back then when I put myself further into debt, the checks that they used to send you in the mail and you could cash them and then you had to pay them back. That's how I did that.
So you essentially took out loans.
I took out more, I created myself more debt to pay them off.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Eric, same question.
Yeah, good afternoon. I appreciate today that you shared with us some of the ways that you're involved in the community, as well as some of the steps that you took financially to kind of clear up the debt. I was just curious, on page 7 of the application, there are questions that kind of ask about those steps that you've taken since conviction and ways you're involved. And you put not applicable on all of those. Was there any reason that some of these things weren't put on the application?
Oh, on my book. Would you say page 7?
Yes. And so it just has questions about, education, community involvement.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I just maybe have misread that.
Okay. Thanks for your response.
Yes.
Other questions from the board? Reverend Hancock.
Ms. Willing, the bar you work at now is in Footville, is that right?
Correct.
And you work there but you worked at you've been a bartender in Footville for 28 years?
For 18 years.
18 years, okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions from the board? Right. Thank you, Ms. Willing. Appreciate your time and hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Great. You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last applicant of the afternoon session is Jonathan Shallow. Mr. Shallow?
Good afternoon. Thank you all for inviting me to this hearing, giving me an opportunity to be heard. In 2009, I had a serious opiate addiction, began after I was prescribed medication following a car accident. That addiction doesn't excuse my actions though, and I take full responsibility for the harm I caused to all of my victims. I was convicted of forgery related to checks I had stolen and cash from my family members. And as part of that conviction, additional related charges were dismissed and read in, including other forgeries, receiving stolen property, and bail jumping, since I had committed those crimes against my employer. After sentencing, I was released on probation, and I was homeless for a time, living in Milwaukee with other drug users who were the only people who would associate with me after I had ruined my life and caused so much harm. And I began using opiates again. After a few months, I was picked up and arrested, sent back to my probation agent, and as an alternative to revocation, I was placed in a 3-month-long intensive drug treatment program at Milwaukee Secure Detention Facility. That's when I was finally able to receive the help I needed and begin putting the pieces of my life back together. When I graduated from the treatment program, sometime late 2009 or early 2010, I think, I was released to probation for the last time. Rightfully, I struggled to find work and to pay off the large amount of restitution I owed for a number of years, which resulted in my probation being extended a number of times until 2016, when I was able to finally pay it back in full and released from probation. Since the completion of my sentence in 2016, I've been gainfully employed, except for a short stint of unemployment while I recovered from a very serious back injury and attended college full-time while trying to find new employment that I was physically able to do. In 2017, I began a state-run apprenticeship designing electric and natural gas utilities. I completed my apprenticeship in 2020. And I've had a career in design and been promoted within the same company since. In 2018, I graduated with honors and received an Associate of Science in Mechanical Design. I've been a volunteer baseball coach for both of my kids since 2012 all the way up to 2023. I've been active in my community and try to help whenever I'm needed. I consistently donate food, materials, my time, money to those in need, and my wife and I have also fostered and adopted too many dogs to even count at this point. It's really hard for me to say that I deserve this pardon, but I hope that I've earned it. I try to live my life ethically and responsibly in every way. I've been clean and sober for 16 years. I've not had any police contact since then either. I feel horrible for what I've done, and I try to make amends at every turn. Thank you all for providing this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Shallow. Questions from the board? Looks like you covered everything, Mr. Shallow. Appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, you also.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Shallow was our last applicant of the afternoon session. So at this point, I will entertain a motion for the board to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 sub 1, sub A, sub D, and sub F for purposes of deliberation concerning specific cases before the board, considering specific applications, and considering financial, medical, social, and or personal histories of specific persons. Do I have a motion? Jeff, do I have a second? Cindy, all in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries, and